Good morning and welcome to Grainville. Good morning and welcome to Grainville. Bit blustery this morning, but the sunny conditions are going to stick with us all day. We've got two games of exciting T20 cricket for you. We've got the semi-final this morning at 11 o'clock between Farmers and Walkovers. OVs will be in action this afternoon in the final. They'll play the winner of this game. The DFDS T20 Premier League Finals Day. It's been 6 weeks of hard competition. It all comes down to today. I'll pass you across to the umpire for the toss.
You're tossing. You're home. Gentlemen, any questions before we toss?
Nah, all good.
You've done this several times already this season, so
Yeah, all good.
off you go.
You ready?
Reece.
Yeah.
Your call.
Heads.
Head's call.
Tail.
That is a tail.
We'll have a bowl, please. Beautiful.
Okay, Reece, won the toss. Had a bowl first.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts behind that?
I think the ground is, you can pretty much score anything on it today, so chasing, we feel like we can chase anything. We've got a really good bowling unit here today as well, so there's a lot of Jersey players we'll be playing in the week. Yeah, but we believe we can chase anything.
Any squad changes from last weekend coming in today?
Oh, that's a good question. I think Sol Bennett's not here. He's available for the final though, if we get there, obviously. But I think it's pretty much the same. Oh, Stan Norman's back as well, so it's nice to have him back.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Dan, toss didn't go your way, but hopefully that's going to change for you this afternoon. How do you think you're going to go?
Yeah, I mean, we probably would have had a bat, knowing the ground pretty well myself. I think it looks like a half-decent track, so we look to put some on up top, do the same what we did last week, and then put them under a bit of pressure whilst they're in the chase.
Yeah, so not usual that the one of the captains is also the head groundsman here. Just talk to me about the preparations that's gone into this week.
Yeah, it's been a pretty tough week. Obviously, very, very hot, so gone pretty different to what we usually do, watering in the nights and rolling in the afternoon. So it's been pretty brutal with Nepal coming over as well, which is an exciting thing to be a part of as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the whole day. Last year I was out injured and sitting in a commentary tent with you, so I'm going to look forward to being out there with the boys today.
Good luck, mate.
Take it. Nice one.
So, result from the toss, Farmers won it and will bowl first. Sunny day here, the pitch looks absolutely wonderful. I think we're going to hopefully be in for a run fest. Join us at 11 o'clock for the first. Okay, good morning. Welcome to Grainville for the DFDS T20 Premier League Finals Day. As you can see, the players just moving up to the middle now. Those of you who maybe missed the toss, Farmers won the toss, elected to field first. So sunny day here, blustery conditions. I'm sure if you're in Jersey, you'll be feeling them yourselves. If you're abroad, further abroad, we've got no rain forecast, so we're hopeful for 2 full games of cricket. How many runs are scored and how many wickets are taken? We'll see as the day unfolds, but those of you who were with us last year remember an unbelievable semi-final of 199. Shared a tie back to a super over, and eventually OVs running out the winners. So the semi-final this morning here between Walkovers, who haven't been here for a number of years now. You know, they did a lot of effort this year and won the games that they needed to get here in third place, taking on the second place Farmers, who over the last certainly number of years have received that bye to the final. So walkovers haven't been in the semi-final for a while, neither have Farmers for very different reasons. Scott Van Breda with the ball in hand, Will Taylor left-handed bat taking strike with Elliot Corbell at the non-strikers end. Good start, nice and straight from Scott. Important on these wickets, certainly having been out there myself, had a little look at the pitch. It's rock solid underneath. We don't expect to see much lateral movement, maybe a bit through the air with the new ball. Certainly Scott Van Breda is known for his opening bowling with the new ball. He'll get it to move around a little bit. We're 11 o'clock now, but the sun's been out since very early this morning. I know, having spoken to the groundsman and worked with him for a number of weeks now, that this pitch is going to be a good one. So will they take full advantage? That is the key. I'm delighted to say I'm joined in the commentary box by Grace Weatherall, Jersey Cricket women's player who we've already seen on camera this year in the Women's Interinsular. Grace, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Much appreciated. Now you've got a bit of commentary experience being here before. You've been with us and you've been... sorry, 2 seconds as the no bowler comes in. Cut away. Too much width there. Looks like it's running away, but third man has got round, put a big left boot on it, and thought about 3 for second, but they're going to stick with just the 2 runs. So walkover's underway. Grace was just mentioning that this isn't your first time in the commentary box. You've done a bit before.
Yeah, I've done a bit with the ECN when we've been on tour in Malaga and when they came over here for the Liberation Series last year. So yeah.
Oh, just a drop and run there. A nice run into the offside. Backed up well. If it hadn't have been backed up there, Stan Norman was sprinting into the stumps. Might have been a few extras early doors, but another run to walkovers. Well played. Outside off stump. These two haven't opened together a lot this year. Walkovers, bit of team news. Unfortunately missing the leading run scorer of the competition in Drew Sylvester. He certainly made a...
Nicely cut away. Down to the fielder, will only be a single. Good start to this over. Nicely played, just dropping just short of the fielder there.
Sorry, a little bit of an interruption there. Just the live scorer just trying to work out how to get the app going. So we should be with you with that score bar as soon as we can get going. But this is still the first over with Scott Van Breda coming in. Will Taylor with an aggressive strike over mid-on, just enough to clear a very tall mid-on in Stan Norman. You can see the length of his legs there. Not easy to get over him, but he managed to do that. A few bounces away, it's going to run away. It's been warm. We're in the middle of a heat wave here in Jersey, so this outfield is going to be quick today. Boundary's pretty big, but the ball will run away. So first over completed, as you can see. Live scorer just catching up on what's happened so far, so hopefully we'll be with you soon enough with that score. But certainly no wickets lost. A couple of runs off the bat of Will Taylor, and then a boundary to finish the over. So 1 over done. Walkovers will be happy without that wicket, but as I mentioned there, Scott Van Breda from one end. This end will be George Richardson, who has certainly put on a couple of yards over the last couple of years. He's certainly become one of Jersey's leading strike bowlers. So his overs today here on this wicket against this walkovers batting lineup will be extremely important. As I was mentioning before, the main man who has been scoring all the runs for walkovers at the top of the order, Drew Sylvester, isn't here with us today. I'm told he'll be tuning in to watch the game. He's decided to take a holiday in the middle of the cricket season, which is always an interesting decision for a cricketer, but certainly they've got capable replacements, the likes of Elliot Corbell coming in, who those you'll be familiar with, having played for OVs for a number of years in multiple finals day for them. This is the first time he's taking the field in finals day in walkovers colours, so he'll be hoping to perform well. Strike bowler in George Richardson with the ball in his hand. Bit of extra pace, as you can see from the distance with the keeper standing back. So it should be a good battle between these two. Short ball first up, which has gone through the offside, and it's been called a no ball. So just trying to work out what's happened here. It looks like the fielder may have not used his hands as much as he should have done, but he seems to be all right. Umpires have just checked and everything seems to be okay. So as I said, a little bit of extra pace on offer here. You could see how it rushed Elliot Corbell there. A little bit of a thick outside edge into the offside for one, Grace. So as you'll see, the walkover's opening pair, right-hand, left-hand combination, just making the captain have to think a little bit here. Every time there's that single, the field will change. And then in T20 cricket, depending on what ball you want to bowl, you would change the field, certainly in the power plays. You can see Jersey captain Chuggy Pershard just sitting deep there at mid-wicket, but it is a no ball, so it will be a free hit. And as the batters change ends, the fielders can move. So a few adjustments. That's well bowled. Tried to give himself a little bit of room, but in the doing so, got followed by the bowler and got a big inside edge that went through fine leg for 4. So a couple of boundaries from Will Taylor early to get walkovers going here. I certainly think, looking at the pitch, Grace, this could be quite a high-scoring day.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the outfield has been, like you say, hard as a rock. It's been hot, not much rain here recently, so definitely runs to be scored out there, but also pace for the seam bowlers to properly get through. So it definitely could be an interesting game.
Agreed. And you've been out there yourself. You've been learning off busy yourself. Been out there, and you've put some preparations into this wicket yourself. Just talk to me after this ball. Okay, interesting call here. Certainly from where we were, it looked like it cannoned off his pad, but an appeal from the from the bowler, and the umpire has given it. So an early wicket here for Farmers. They'll be delighted with that. Certainly Will Taylor himself doesn't feel as if he got anywhere near it. There was a loud thud, but it was, from our viewpoint, bat hitting the pad, which would tend to mean that the balls hit the pad rather than the batting hitting the ball. So one for George Richardson there, and walkovers lose their first wicket.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough way to get out. From our angle, definitely looks more like bat on pad there, but at the end of the day, umpire's cool. Learned from experience not to argue with an umpire, and game goes on.
The game goes on. You always know if the decision's been right or wrong when the opposition are smiling and giving it a bit from where they are. So, yeah, bit of an interesting start to this game. Certainly from where we're sat, Farmers will take that and move on. So Will Taylor gone. Robin Carnegie, the new batter. He only came back into the lineup last week. He's been away in the UK at university, also playing cricket. So George Richardson will fancy himself a little bit here, and we're 13 for 1. Certainly think anything around 170 is about par on this wicket. Walkovers will be looking for potentially a few more of those. Plenty of firepower in the batting order, but unfortunately missing their main man in Drew. So Another appeal. After what we've just seen, you might see a few more extra appeals from the Farmers, just in case. But I'm not sure he's going to be lulled into giving another one there. So, early wicket, as we mentioned. Grace, I was just mentioning that you've been putting some time into the wicket. Just talk to us through about some of the preparations and how you've been getting involved.
Well, what I've been doing has been rolling the wicket, so I'll come in some mornings and afternoons and I'll sit on the roller. And I will do about 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off, or half an hour on, half an hour off, and then in between that we'll brush and cut the wicket to get into preparation. And then whilst I'm doing that, Biz up, he will be cutting the outfield, cutting the square to make the ground look as beautiful as it does today.
Yeah, I'd be delighted with you saying that, no doubt. As you can see, the outfield, despite a number of places around the world and in Jersey looking extremely bare, we've still got a fair amount of grass on this outfield. That is a beautiful delivery that squared him up. You can see there with this new ball, a little bit more of a pronounced scene with this Kookaburra regulation. If you bowl it into the wicket, you might get something from it. So sort of pitched on what looked like middle and leg, just went away from the right-hander, which ended up squaring him up. So this is what you'll see. This is, you know, what we see a lot in Jersey Premier League cricket, where we've got a number of players who have played a great standard of cricket, George included, who's taken, you know, interinsular fivers and bowled beautifully with the new ball in Qatar in Challenge League last year. So big edge again. Not sure he meant it to go there. I think more of a thick outside edge, having beaten the bat the ball before. Ran very quickly down to third man. Another run to the board, and that's the second over completed. So 7 off it, but the wicket. So honours even, I'd say. Certainly run rate, you'd want to be above 8s all the way through with this outfield and this deck. You know, a lot of people looking at the ground might be thinking, yeah, this is the best conditions that you can get as a groundsman. With this much sun continually baking it down, it actually can make the job quite difficult in trying to keep all the live grass alive to preserve these wickets. So it's not as easy as some might seem. There's been plenty of watering, plenty of irrigation going on. So it's been certainly a busy week for the ground staff to get everything ready for not just today, but the DFDS International Summer Series starting on Monday with the visit of Nepal. So 2 exciting fixtures to look forward to. Scott Van Breeda back with the new ball in hand. We'll likely see him bowl out from his end the 3 overs of the power play with the new ball, as he's more of a new ball specialist. Not quite short enough. Corbell looking to pull it, but getting a bit of an under edge into the pads. That's run away for 1 at deep square leg boundary. So Grace, what do you think here? What we'll be looking for in terms of sort of total? What they should be getting, what you think they might be looking to do sort of in and out of the power play?
I think they've lost a wicket here, so it's basically saving your own wicket. Within my game, I'd still play my game like you play the good balls and you take on those bad balls. It's just simple cricket. Not overcomplicating it. When you start to overcomplicate it, that's when issues occur. Just building a partnership here and getting themselves out of the power play with maybe a 40 to 50 plus out of the power play, which I think would be pretty good, and then pushing on for a 170 total will put them into a good position to go out into the field here, just building those partnerships and getting 2 batters to stay together.
Yeah, you do a lot of batting in the power play yourself, either at 3 or 1 for the women's team. Just talk to us about what life's like batting in this power play, because you know, a lot of people think with just 2 out it makes it easier, but sometimes with wickets being lost within the power play, it can create a bit of confusion within the batter's mindset.
Yeah, it all depends on the game scenario and definitely who we're playing, but the way I kind of think about it is, yes, there is 2 out and you have got the option to go bigger because there's only 2 fielders out, but also you've only started your innings. Like, taking risk right up at the top, like second over in, can sometimes be a bit risky there. So just the way I go about it is, like I said, defend the good balls and play the bad balls. And that's how I try to go about my game. With the wickets losing, like if I'm in a situation where a couple wickets are falling around us, we just kind of slow the game down. A lot of batters in our women's side have the ability to go big and build scores quickly. So even if we take 2 overs to calm it down.
It's a nice shot through the offside, timed beautifully. As we say, this outfield is quick, but that one's going to run away. So bit of cat and mouse here, as we saw the ball before, given a wide, despite the batter sort of getting across to the offside to give himself some options leg side. This time he's threatened to go that way and then gone leg side, which has given him a bit of room to hit it through that offside ring. No fielders out in the offside apart from third man, so if you do pierce that infield with a long square that side and the rapid outfield, you'll get good value for your runs. And what we're seeing now, a little bit of a tactical move. We've seen this a lot, those who've been watching the test match series with England and New Zealand. The New Zealand keeper, Blundell, is a superb wicket keeper, showed it standing up to 80 mile an hour plus. Now Scott Van Breeder is an 80 mile an hour, but he's got a new ball in his hand, and Jack Kemp is now coming up to try and stop him moving around too much, which it does, and he finds the fielder Ollie Ramage in the offside. So again here, T20 cricket in the power play, bit of cat and mouse, batter trying to move around the crease, bowler trying to adjust to what they're doing, but the keeper's decided, right, I'm getting involved in the game here, I'm going to get up, I'm going to stop you being able to get out your crease and stop you being able to get at the ball. Again, dot ball with a bit of a threat from Scotty, just to make the batter get back in his crease. Now, anybody locally who knows Scott Van Breeder will know that he's what you might describe as a gentle giant. But, as everybody knows, Grace, you included, once you get over that white line and you're in the middle of the competition,
the heat comes out to stir up a little bit.
And it looked like it was there. Classic fast bowler's response when the ball gets hit back at them. A threat of throw at the stumps, just to make the batter know who's boss, get back in your crease.
We see a lot in our women's game, especially from a very classic Erin Duffy. It's her classic move. It gets hit back at her. There is the threat of coming back at you. But then again, I think also it can work. It will make, as a batter, if someone threatens to launch it back at me, next ball I'm a little bit like, okay, I'm just either going to go deep in my crease or...
Yeah, listen, it's certainly something that is... can be controversial in the game. We've got what a lot of people talk about as the spirit of cricket, you know, playing in the fairest manner possible. But a lot of the time in the heat of the moment, when everybody wants to go out there, this is a finals day, both teams want to win this game. Tempers can tend to flare, but as long as it stays within the rule, bit of back and forth, we don't mind watching that, do we?
Bit of banter never hurt anyone.
Bit of spice in the contest as George Richardson continues at good pace here. As we can see there, Corbell just getting hit by the ball there. What you can see is that he's getting himself a little bit tucked up. You know, we've got Robin Carnegie at the other end, who's getting across to the off stump. Corbell there just getting a bit stuck on the leg stump there, getting a bit stuck for room. George bowling nice lines, just following him, so he's got no width. That's the key on these sorts of wickets, where it's not going to be too much movement, where it's going to be what you would describe as a road or flat. Your lines are extra important to avoid giving the batter width. He's gone full. He's hit through the line, being chased down by mid-off, but we think that's going to run away for another boundary. So, bowler just a touch full. Corbell's tucked into that. Lovely strike over mid-off for another boundary. So, bit of to and fro in here. 25 for 1, run rate of 7 isn't too much for the Farmers. They'll be taking that, that's for sure. The 1 wicket will help them as well, but walkovers, as Grace mentioned, will just be wanting to build that partnership. Robin Carnegie 5 off 7 will want to be going a little bit quicker than that, but looking at that batting card for walkovers, they've certainly got firepower down the order. And that's going to run away as well for leg byes. So that's what can happen when you bowl as quick as George does. All it needs is a little touch and a deflection off the pad for another 4 runs on the board. So pace just increasing a little bit here. It will be easier to bat the longer you bat for, but as I say, George Richardson really pushed on over the last couple of years. Now one of Jersey's main strike bowlers. Not easy to do it against, so important couple of overs here from both sides. Oh, that looks like it's straight up in the air and out. An interesting shot there from Corbell. Ball sort of outside off stump. He's tried to pull it, but I think, Grace, that ball looked like it was too far outside off stump to pull.
Yeah, definitely not. I think it's something that with the women's game we've been massively working on, especially that is where most women's players bowl these days, is outside off. You've got to follow the line of the ball. You've got to go hit straight along the ground or hit straight over the top. And that's definitely not the shot to play to that.
Yeah, listen, obviously it's easier for us sat here.
Yes.
Commentators get to have the second thought and not in the moment. And I think Corbell, if he watches that back, will wish he would have just sort of sat back and hit that over the offside rather than try and go across it. Did get picked up in the breeze. It looked like it might have been one that's gone up for the bowler to catch, but mid-off ended up having to come in. Reece Palmer, the captain, taking a good catch. It is blustery conditions today, so those sorts of steeplers aren't going to be easy to get under. But another wicket down.
I think Farmers will be really happy with the way they're going. 2 wickets down in the power play. That's definitely a win for them.
Yeah. 2 wickets. Not disastrous, but there is a stat out there around losing 3 wickets in the power play, you lose 70% of games. Now, 3 wickets on this pitch versus 3 wickets on a difficult pitch are 2 very different things. So it's not going to be difficult for the batters to score runs, but it's just a case of, can they build partnerships like you mentioned? Can somebody go and get that big score of 70, 80 not out and lead their team to a big total? Jacques van der Walt, the new batter in. Left-hander up against George. It's well played behind square in the leg side. They'll be looking for 2. And they're going to get there easily. Chased down by Joel Dudley, I think. So, as we mentioned there, that's a pretty good summary of what it's like, this sort of cricket that we're going to see today. We're going to see boundaries with this wicket and this outfield. But we're also going to see wickets, and George Richardson bowling nicely there. Touch too full at times, but I think from a fast bowler's point of view, Grace, you don't want to be too predictable.
Yeah, definitely not. Especially like in the power play, like bowl a good ball, but also change what you're doing. Don't let the batter get set to what you're doing.
Agreed. And I made the call before that we'll see Scott Van Breede bowl out of the power play from that end. What I didn't take into account was Jersey's captain is in the lineup, who bowls beautifully with the new ball, 2 left-handers. So when Jack Van der Walt walked out, left-hander came to the crease. I think that's what just convinced the captain to get the new ball into the Jersey captain's hands. So Juggy Pershard to take the 5th over here. We'll see the keeper stood up. Right-hander on strike, but he'll be wanting to get that left-hander on strike. We know that Jacques, one of the leading run scorers in club cricket last year, will be one of their danger men moving forward here. We talked about firepower in the walkovers batting lineup. There's still Dan Birrell, Tion Kruger to come with some youngsters around them. Plenty of batting to come, but this is a great start for Farmers. Full and straight. It's cool of yes. Brilliant bit of fielding in the ring. Trying to work out who that was. Diving to his left. Clean pick-up. Still 1 though. So Robin moves on to 6 off 9. He'll be wanting to put that strike rate, but this will be the matchup that Farmers want. Matchups in T20 cricket, quite an important part of the analysis section these days. So, can we find the right bowler to match up against the right batter? And certainly with Chuggy's history of bowling to left-handers, he does it for Jersey. He'll be looking to do it here. Left-handers are what he enjoys. He naturally swings it into the right-hander. So again, he'll be swinging it away from the left-hander. A little bit surprised that they haven't gone for a slip here. They packed the offside. Would have potentially myself brought a slip in whilst they're still 2 down, just for this over, just for a couple of balls, just to see what happens. Ooh, there was a chance there at very backward point. Looked like Joel Dudley diving to his right. I'm not sure if he managed to get a fingertip on that, but a diving effort nonetheless. So 33 for 2 now, 4.5 gone. Just 9 balls left in this power play. Robin Carnegie 6 off 9 will be looking to get going a little bit here. Certainly with 2 out, he'll want to be striking a little bit higher than that, but he has got a very experienced campaigner in Chuggy Pershard to deal with first. 3 balls remaining. That's full and straight, but probably done too much. Creeping down leg side. And another dot ball now. A bit of pressure on the number 3 batter here, but like we've mentioned a couple of times, the walkovers do have power down the order, but this is not going to be an easy task for them. Farmers packed with experience and quality. We've got Captain Reece Palmer, a bowler's offies to come. A couple of youngsters, Adam Bradbury, James Bradbury out there. One name that's not on the team sheet that they probably would have liked to have had available. I'm not sure why he's not available today, but Toby Britton, certainly one of their main strike bowlers, named in the Jersey squad for the international series against Nepal next week. And then young leggy Ollie Ramage, who I'm excited to see. We all like leg spinners in T20 cricket. It's well bowled again. You can just see that shape on the ball. Chuggy just getting it away from the left-hander a little bit there and getting a dot ball. So 34 for 2 off 5. Run rate creeps under 7s, 3 off the over. And this is where walkovers are going to have to keep pushing themselves here, because this Farmers lineup, plenty of experience, as I said, so they'll be able to chop and change their bowlers. They'll be able to give people a couple of overs, and just when they're settling, bring in someone else. So no easy task here for the walkovers batters. A reminder that the final this afternoon kicks off at 3 o'clock. OVs gaining that bye through to the final. A few familiar names on their team sheet. Scott Simpson, Corey Bisson, James Duckett. Plenty of experienced campaigners themselves, mixed with some youth. So we'll be seeing them for sure at 3 o'clock. They got through that super over last year, of which Ed Giles in the super over hit 4 massive sixes in a row to win it. So we'll hopefully see some of those fireworks today. Certainly from a neutral point of view, we're here to see some fantastic cricket. What we've seen so far from this Farmers opening lineup has been superb on what should be a good batting wicket. That one short into the pitch. Just out for 1 in the leg side. Stan Norman, the new bowler, hasn't played much in Jersey this season. He's been captain in Cambridge University, which is no mean feat. Most recently playing against a walkovers opponent in Chris Carnegie, who hasn't made the trip back for today. Looking at the scorecard of that, I'm told Chris Carnegie bowled a mammoth 25 overs in one day, which is unheard of in cricket these days. I can see Grace's face as she hears that and thinks about that as a seam bowler herself. That's a nice shot, but for none through the offside. You can tell by that shot there just how good this wicket is. Shark didn't really move his feet at all. Struck it quite nicely straight at the fielder. If he'd have got it in a gap, good chance it would have run away from 4. So bowlers, less room for error today. And Stan Norman having played plenty of good cricket this year with the ball in hand. So just 4 balls left of this power play. That's well bowled, right in the block hole. And you can see the reaction from the batter there was a little bit of frustration. Bit of width there. That's what the batters have to capitalise on today. That full straight Yorker, that's good bowling. Bowlers are allowed to bowl well, but short and wide there, if you miss out on those, it's going to put pressure on you. So 3 dot balls. Strike rate not where it needs to be for either batter. Jacques 3 off 6 balls, Robin 8 off 12. So the longer this continues, the more Farmers will be delighted. Of course, from a Farmers' point of view, they are missing more players than just Toby Britton. Last year we saw a magnificent innings from Nick Greenwood in the final, 90-something off 30-something, which for those that were here was unbelievable hitting. Every ball seemed to go to the boundary. He's playing club cricket in the UK this summer, and the regular Jersey all-rounder Julius Sumarawa also not here today, both of which we'll see in action for Jersey against Nepal next week. But for now, Farmers will have to do without them. Still got a pack lineup, still got plenty of batting to chase down big totals on this wicket. And another dot ball to finish. So not the end to the power play that walkovers would have hoped for. 36 for none off 6. And you'd say, Grace, Farmers well on top.
Yeah, definitely. Coming 36 for 2 out of the power play. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, agreed. With the bowling lineup that they've got now, they're able to spread the field. 5 men allowed outside the 30-yard circle. I think in this scenario, they maybe just keep 4. But it looks like they're going to go 5. No. Yeah. 4 out, 5 in for the time being. Just whilst the run rate isn't extensive, they're going to try and keep that squeeze in the offside against the left-hander. So Chuggy back in. Squeeze pass. Be looking to push for a second. Shark running back, coming for 2. We talk about running that first one hard, Grace. I'm not sure that was running the first one hard.
No, but somehow they've scampered back for 2 there. Definitely when you're in T20 running that first one hard, even when you probably know it's only going to be a single, you never know, overthrows, misfields. If you run that first one hard, anything can happen.
Especially when you're not really going at the rate you'd like. Those 1s into 2s are going to be very, very important. Now, Jacques playing for Jersey Cricket Club a few weeks ago when they were 0 for 3, chasing 130 against Guernsey. He played a fantastic knock of 60-odd to get them over the line. So he is able to catch up. You can see from his stature that he's able to strike the ball with a lot of power. But at the moment, he's just not able to pierce this gap in the offside as much as he would like. Walkover's a little bit dot runs at the moment. You'd want the rhythm, especially now you're out the power play, Grace. You want to be looking to get those 1s and 2s as every ball you can and pick up the odd boundary where you can.
And definitely hitting to mid-off here, like if they're on the ring, it's a single.
Agreed. Especially when Reece Palmer is stood on the edge of the ring. Certainly know, having not really taken part in the game last week, that he's struggling with a little bit of a back injury. He didn't bowl last week and he came in and batted at 11. So it'd be interesting to see if he does bowl any overs in this contest. I did ask him this morning for a bit of injury news and he said, not great. But then those who know Reece, that's what he says most mornings, because for him, getting out of bed can be difficult at times. Great bit of fielding from George Richardson, diving to his right to save a run. And this is not going anywhere for walkovers at the moment. 2 off this over, 3 off the last. 5 runs coming off the last 2 overs, which isn't really what they're looking for. So we're hoping to see a little bit more fireworks than this. But as we said, good wicket, fast outfield, you can catch up. Final ball of this chuggy over. It's well bowled. And just the 1 run coming off that last ball. So again, 3 off the over. Farmers cock-a-hoop out there, running between the wickets, enjoying their time in the sun. So stick with us. If you're not able to make it down to Greenville today, we've got plenty of guest commentators coming on throughout the day. Grace is going to chip in and help out throughout the day as we go. We'll be joined by women's captain Chloe Grecian very soon. we'll have men's head coach Neil McRae joining us. And we've got the captain of St One Springfield and the men's opening batsman Harrison Carlyon joining us as well. I'm told he's playing a golf competition this morning. He's I'd say multi-sport athlete, but I'm not sure athlete necessarily describes him perfectly. He's certainly an extremely talented golfer and cricketer. So he'll be joining us. We'll have plenty to talk about with the international series against Nepal coming up. When we catch up with Chloe, we're going to discuss what's set for the women for the rest of the year, following their 2-game interinsular victory against Guernsey a month ago. And then we'll try and preview that series. We've got a number of people coming down throughout the day. We're hoping that the Nepali players who were here training yesterday, most of them flew in on Thursday evening. They were here for a couple of hours training yesterday. We may, if I can convince him, be able to get their coach Stuart Law on comms. I'm told they'll be down for the final this afternoon. So change of bowling, bit of spin for you. We've got young James Bradbury coming on, left arm spin. Not the most orthodox action you've ever seen, but can be mightily effective. Another dot ball, which is what we've seen plenty of. Hopefully we'll see some fireworks to come. Looking a little bit difficult out there at the moment. Certainly you'd say batters have left some runs out there, but at the same time, this Farmers attack has been very useful on what should and looks like a good batting deck. Bit of innovation there from Jacques, which is what pressure will do. Going to create the need to do something different. So a couple of dot balls and a reverse sweep, which hasn't really come to anything. Just one to short third man. And this now is starting to look like a bit of danger for walkovers here. There's not 8 off 16 and 8 off 13 is not what you'd want in this scenario. So 3 balls left of this over. Robin Carnegie's going to need to get on with it here. I think the walkovers sideline have been quietened. They need some boundaries getting back into this. Ran that first one hard, but it's only going to be one. Great bit of fielding out there from Joel Dudley with 2 balls to come. Just 2 off this over. Just a break in play there. What you won't have been able to see is a few youngsters getting and sneaking onto the field. A no ball is the call from the umpire. Just what walkovers ordered. What this means, it's a free hit next ball. You don't see spinners bowling too many no balls. I think he might have given that for his back foot breaking the wide line, or the wide crease line. But a free hit for Jacques just might get him going. Or not. Commentator's curse. So more dot balls. It's what we've seen a lot of so far. We are not seeing the run fest that we saw last year, where 199 played 199 in the semi-final. But plenty of overs, plenty of balls left for walkovers to get something competitive here. That again might just be one, which it is. So 4 runs coming from that over. We've seen a bunch of 3s and now a 4. So current run rate of walkovers 5.38. 43 for 2 off 8 overs. There has been a change in the commentary box. I'm delighted to say I've been joined by women's captain Chloe Grecian. Chloe, thanks for coming down, giving up a bit of time on your Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Delighted to have you here.
Yeah, it's nice to be here on finals day.
Ground looking as good as it ever has.
Yeah.
As it ever does. And yeah, delighted to have you. Certainly, as we mentioned before, we want to talk a little bit about the women's team so far this year. I understood you had a game last night, a little warm-up game down at FB, ahead of what will be an exciting summer. I'm told a victory off the last ball. So a bit of a tight game there, which can be good learnings under pressure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a few wickets down, and yeah, managed to chase the 146 needed off the last ball, which was good for the girls.
Yeah, and there's plenty to come. Let's talk a little bit about that women's interinsular series that we covered here, the two T20s. Happy with how that went?
Yeah, delighted to get off to a good start. Obviously, in the summer with what's a brilliant season ahead. Yeah, obviously in front of a home crowd, friends and family, and to get off with a dominating 2-0 series win was a brilliant start for us.
Agreed. And those who tuned in, 200 run wins in one day. You don't see that very often. And it was a clinical performance from the Jersey side. Just talk to me about sort of where everything is within that Jersey women's side right now. Certainly having been part of the start of it myself, there was a core group of youngsters, which back then would have included yourself. Everybody was about 19 or under. Everybody now, sort of flourishing into the cricketers that they want to be. Just talk to me about how far you've come and sort of where you are as a group at the moment.
Yeah, we're still a very young squad. I think myself being one of the eldest now, only at 25, is quite daunting for some people. But yes, still a very young group. Still got lots to learn. Obviously, we're just going through our international experience now. Every season, lots of girls off island now, which is rare. When you were there, there was lots on island at school here, whereas now lots at uni and boarding school. So not many of us left on island, training each week. But yeah, it's always nice when the girls are back over on their holidays. It's very important that we train together, and obviously especially with a big tour coming up to Switzerland.
Yeah, agreed. So that, the initial phase you're referring to there where everybody was on island was that, development of skills. Young cricketers weren't really sure about what they wanted to be or what they were going to do in international cricket. That's a fantastic chuck from long on. A little bit of confusion in the middle between the batters. Robin wanted two, but he didn't. Coming back to women's cricket there, a bit of a different phase now, as you say, multiple players off island. Just talk to us about the sort of opportunities that they're currently taking being off island at the moment.
Yeah, we've obviously just recently had Trinity and Grace down under, playing some good cricket in Australia. So that was really good for them to get that exposure to sort of that next level and grade cricket. And then we've got lots of girls playing uni cricket, which is very important for them as well to be playing weekly. Too many to name, don't want to forget anyone, but lots of people playing uni cricket. So that's brilliant for us that we've got lots of girls playing cricket outside of just the Jersey setup. And then the few that are on island, some have played men's cricket, like 2s and 3s, so that's really important for them to keep playing each weekend. Always gone big there. Not quite got all of it, but yes, very important to play cricket just outside of the Jersey setup. So I hope the girls continue to do that, and obviously the youngsters, they're playing their under 15 stuff, which is really good.
Yeah, and the key thing there is plenty of cricket, isn't it? That certainly the women's game's developing. We're seeing the first ever women's test match at Lord's today, but certainly having been involved in it for a number of years now, it's the volume of cricket that they don't get at junior level that can be so hampering to the development as a cricketer. Certainly you think about a young boy of 11 to 13, they'll have played hundreds of games of cricket, whether that be through school club or at Jersey level. But within the women's game, still developing. It's not always necessarily the opportunity to play as many games as they can, but the youngsters that we're seeing now with the Walker's Hero Legacy programme, getting up to 2 games a week, for both club and country, seems to be going really well. So change there and a change of bowling once again. James Bradbury, just the one over there, clearly didn't bowl well enough to have just gone for 4. Maybe the no ball convinced the captain to change it, but unfortunately his big brother's kicked him off. So what was James Bradbury's now Adam Bradbury, as he marks his run up, chatting to the captain at the top of his mark, discussing around field placings. Walkovers not in the position they'd want to be. Plenty of wickets in hand. 11 overs still to go, but unfortunately that run rate not looking as healthy as it should. We've got Jux van der Vault with 11 off 23. That's not the strike rate we're looking for in T20 cricket. Robin 10 off 16. So something needs to give. See what these two have got for us with the change of bowler. Again, squeezed out into the leg side, more off the inside edge than the middle of the bat. Will just be one out deep backward square leg.
Just wonder what bowler or when they're going to try and take down, really. Could have been this over maybe with Adam bowling as first, but first one's only gone for one, so it'd be interesting to see what Jux does now.
It's one of those moments where certainly from the sidelines you're wanting them to score a bit quicker. The conditions would dictate that this isn't a pitch where you should be 11 off 23. I'm not sure many pitches out there dictate that, but as you can see, he's not quite running that first one hard either. So at the moment you can see his body language, a lot of looking at the floor, a lot of frustration, no doubt, but I think it's getting to that scenario where there's no question boundaries of what's needed. So another one, just seeing singles go here. Just gonna think about this intent with the batters here. They're trying to create something, but there's not really big follow-throughs. Everything seems to be sort of trying to be timed rather than powerful. 50 up in the 10th over. Bit of football skills on show there. We saw it the other night in the T20 as Jofra Archer completed a nice little finish to get a run out. That time, Adam Bradbury, I'm not sure whether it was his left or his right foot.
He went with his left foot there.
He went with his left foot, so what I imagine would be his weaker foot. I'm not sure he's that much of a footballer anyway, but certainly with his left peg there, he had a go and missed the stumps. Obviously, big game later, Chloe. I know you're a bit more of a Scottish fan, I'd imagine, but any predictions for the football later on?
Did wonder driving up if this was going to be talked about. I was thinking of my answer. Yeah, I will be watching it. Had to put my Mexican shirt away, bring my Norway shirt out. Slight misfield there, gone for 4. That's just what walkovers would have wanted, and they'll want to try and kick on here and push on and yeah, see Adam for another boundary or so.
Perfect timing for a Scottish football fan to get off the topic of football there, wasn't it? Don't think I'm going to let you off that lightly. So you'll have your Norway shirt on tonight, will you?
Yeah, I think I still think England will get past Norway. I don't think it'll be easy, but I do think maybe a 2-1.
Okay, there's your prediction. And a nice chuck back to the keeper, another dot ball. So a bit frustrating there, but a much better over for walkovers. 8 off it. Certainly the boundary helping out, and at 10 overs there will be a drinks break. Despite force 5 winds, it is still 30 degrees out there, so it is warm for the players. A great 10 overs for Farmers, they'll be delighted with that. You'd say just the 2 wickets, but ultimately 55 in these conditions, not going to be enough. Walkovers will be looking to at least double it in the final 10. But if this continues, good chance they're going to bat themselves out of this game. As the players come off for a drink, we'll take a quick break and be back to you after this drinks break. side. Looked like a strangle, but question would be whether he actually made contact with the ball. It definitely sounded like he smashed into his pad. But as with the rules of the game, if the umpire gives it, you're out and you've got to walk off. Plenty of us cricketers over the years have got the stiff one, and unfortunately that might have been his turn today. So Stan Norman with the ball back in hand. I'm joined again by Chloe Grecian for the next set. Batters would have had a chance to discuss tactics, and I can only think, Chloe, the batters would have talked about one thing.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you the same question. Bizza ran out there, captain of walkovers, am I right in saying that? Daniel Birrell, captain of walkovers, went out there to talk to the two boys. What do you think he would have been saying to them?
Certainly from my point of view, you've got to be thinking about maybe you'd say give yourself a couple balls to just get you back in after the drinks break. Maybe the drinks break just gives us that freedom, but I think they're really behind the 8 ball here, and their only option is to look to go here. Giving himself a bit of room to try and access that leg side, but found the fielder. So just one again. The key here, and what they haven't done well, is continue to score when they haven't got boundaries. There's been way too many dot balls. One of the KPIs in cricket is called a dot ball percentage. So the number of balls you face divided by the number of dot balls. So that will be too high for what walkovers want it to be, and it will be really, really good if you're in the Farmers camp. So Farmers well ahead. I think walkovers chat will be, we need boundaries. We need to push this rate on. We need 140, I would say, as a minimum. 130 gives you something to bowl at with early wickets, but I certainly think, having been out there myself and had a look at this wicket and the pace of this outfield, 140 is still under. That one struck a bit more cleanly and just made it for 4. Big diving attempt out there by the veteran Chuggy Pershard. We don't usually see him out on the boundary in a jersey shirt. At club level, he's out there, but great diving effort. Almost kept it in, but Jacques van der Walt will breathe a sigh of relief there, Chloe. First boundary for a while off his bat. Takes him to 18 off 28. They'll be looking to continue that as we move. Again, great bit of fielding.
George, I think.
2 balls, 2 Jersey players. The ball hit 2, which shows you the strength of this Farmers lineup. Great bit of fielding behind square in the offside there. Would have definitely saved a couple.
Yeah, just 7 off the over here, going into the last ball. So I think that's a better start after the drinks break.
Well bowled, and that is a wicket. So
it's commentator's curse.
7 off the over, and then the wicket last ball. Caught well at extra cover. Wasn't hit that hard. I think you'd look at the shot again and say his weight was way back, trying to maybe get it over extra cover. But Scott Van Breeda, not a small statured man to get the ball past, takes a simple catch, and another wicket falls. 62 for 3 with lots to go. So, a wicket, Robin Carnegie gone, and the woes continue to happen for walkovers here. But, like we mentioned, a few hitters down the order. Dan Birrell, the captain, strides to the crease, red helmet on, ready to take it on here. So, I think we're not going to see him hang around for too long. He might try and give himself 5 or 10 balls before really trying to launch it. But certainly, if walkovers are going to get back into this contest, they need him to be batting for the next 4 to 5 overs. Change of bowling again. Mixing up the Bradburys, from the pavilion end. James, then Adam, now James. So mixing it up here, Chloe, which is what you see as a captain yourself in T20.
Yeah, pretty important to mix it up, not let the batters settle really with a bowler. So yeah, clever from Reese. And let's see how young James Bradbury goes in his second over.
Big appeal. Looks like it Yeah, no bat involved, but very much going leg side. Juck trying to create something here with both fielders up behind square in his offside with a reverse sweep. Certainly in terms of matchups, this is what Bizza would have wanted. He does like hitting spin, but will he try and do it from ball one? You'd say it's needed, but he may try and give himself a few here. It's a nice strike. Catch it called. The only person catching it would have been the square leg umpire. Only one. Might have been two there with the fielder down onto his knees whilst fielding it, but you could see straight away there that was timed nicely out there. So coming out the middle of his bat, these boundaries aren't going to be big enough, but the Farmer's bowling attack has been superb so far. Bradbury now to Van der Vault. Dot ball. That's what we're seeing a lot from him, Chloe. You just see there's not that follow through. You know, there's more of a punch rather than a real intent there, which is going to get him in between.
Yeah. Just needs to go with intent here and just try and commit to a shot and just try and go over. And yeah, it's one of them. If you get out now, you've still got batters to come in. Sometimes you have to be brave and just take the gamble and just try and go with it.
Yeah, I mean, this walkovers lineup certainly bats deep. They've got a couple of youngsters in there, but the likes of Ben Bealey, Ross Chadwick, experienced campaigners who can strike the ball well enough to get a boundary. Mix that in with Tian Kruger, who we know can also clear the boundary. There's plenty of batting to come. It's just how many overs left they'll have by the time they get to the crease to do it. So they're all back on strike. Another run off the bat. Again, just a few off this over. No boundary so far. Struck well down the ground. Again, Chuggy Pershard with a great bit of boundary fielding and a one bounce throw. Completes the over. So Chloe, let's talk about what's remaining this season for the women's squad and what you've got coming up. I understand some more international cricket for you coming up in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, we're just under 2 weeks away now from going to Switzerland to compete in a quad series against Brazil, Switzerland and Spain. So lots of ranking points on offer there. Yeah, and we're looking just to go there and compete and win really. So lots of preparation happening here in Jersey over the last few weeks, with all the girls being back on holiday, on holiday here. So yeah, looking forward to it. Will be tough. Brazil are a very good side. We've come up against them once before. They're a very professional unit. Lots of them do it as their full-time job. So they are athletes. So yeah, it'll be interesting, but yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and when you say professional there, you mean it in every sense of the word. You know, you mentioned that a number of them do that as their full-time job. They were sort of the first ones to do that, where an associate nation has women as cricketers on their books and paid for, but not men. And you can see coming up against them last year. Just talk about what you saw there and the effect that that's had, certainly on the Brazilian women's national team.
Yeah, a bit of a shame last year when we played them. Actually, it was raining in Leeds, so it was on off kind of a match. So it was a bit difficult. Ended up only being like a 6-over match, so very difficult to really see depth in batting and their bowling options, etc. So it will be good to get a good T20 game against them. Yeah, but they are training throughout the day, and then they're in the gym in the evening as well. So yeah, a very, very professional setup. You can see that in how they arrive to the ground with their warm-ups. But we have got the ability, we have got the level as well. So we're looking to go there and match them and come back with a victory as well.
We'll all be following that very closely. Hopefully that will be live streamed from Switzerland for us to be able to view from here. And there's a sight of that power. He's not going to run. He's going to stand there and watch it. Full ball over mid-off. A couple of bounces goes for 4. That's the intent that they're looking for. He's been waiting around in the hutch for this. He's made this wicket himself, which he does fantastically well for Jersey cricket.
Yeah, mid-off up there, so it's a brilliant option for him to go over mid-off. They're just going to change the field now with mid-off staying back now, so...
That's a big strike, and that's going to continue to fly all the way for 6. So the first 6 we've seen, we've waited 12.3 overs for it, which moves him on to 13 off 5. So if he comes off, as I mentioned, if we see another 3-4 overs of this, walkovers will be getting themselves right back into this contest. Big hit with the wind slightly, but I think it was always going to go for 6, right into that far corner of the ground. Big boundaries today, so it was never going to be easy. Full ball, 2 full in a row, and this is what a good deck with good batting can look like. It means very difficult for these seamers to try and have any room for error. 2 full and you can go and get it over your head. 2 short and that could also disappear too. So
interesting what Dan will go. What he'll do here again, actually. Will he go again? Will he back himself? Or depends obviously on the ball, but here we go.
He certainly looked to go again.
Push hard for 2.
No, they're going to go.
Went to the bowler's end.
And that just shows what's been lacking here. Like cricket and T20 crickets, the word that gets used a lot is momentum. You'd say that momentum's been all farmers without much walkovers intent. All of a sudden, a couple of boundaries, and the first time that these two have really pushed themselves with running between the wickets, they managed to just lift that sideline. 12 off the last 3 balls. And that struck well again. And it's going to, with the wind, continue to clear all the way down into the tennis court. So, big hit there. That's a good 75, maybe 80 metres to clear the tennis courts without bouncing.
Hopefully no one was playing tennis. But as you can just hear there, the walkovers crowd are definitely up now. So that's just, it's 1 over swing really. 88 for 3 now after 13 overs. And a massive over there. And this will be Jack's job now really, is probably just to punish the bad balls. But if he can just get Daniel on strike, then that'll probably be his aim.
Well, that's it. I mean, you know, you've played in plenty of contests before. Knowing yourself as a batter like I do, sometimes you've just got to play the role when you've got a batter at the other end who is striking the ball as cleanly as he is. It's about getting them on strike and as facing many balls as they can. Jack can clear the ropes himself when he wants to. We haven't seen it today. He'll want to make his innings count, but as you said there rightly, Chloe, that's spot on assessment that he'll be looking to try and play second fiddle whilst he's still got a hitter out there, and that's potentially where walkovers really struggled in that period. When they lost that second wicket, neither batter was able to find the boundary, which puts pressure on both ends. Whereas when one's not finding the boundary but the other one is, everything seems to be a bit easier.
Yeah, and it's always that gamble that farmers would have to take in. You know, if we get one of these boys out here, we do get Daniel in, so it's one of them is Robin and Jarks could have just kept going there for 1s and 2s, whereas they obviously got Robin out, and now you've got Daniel in who's striking the ball nicely, so they're going to have to adapt here. They're bringing George Richardson back on.
Yeah, this is a good call from farmers. I would have certainly done the same. You've got a strike bowler with 2 wickets waiting in the wings. You might have been tempted to leave him to the final 4 overs, but when that momentum starts to swing, good call as always. Bring that strike bowler back on, see if he can nick you a wicket and change the game back in your favour. That's what his intent will be.
And there you have it. Jarks just goes for 1, get Bizza back on strike, and then let's see what he's going to do here. Change of field.
They're going to need to change the field. I think the difference here is just that pace. I think Birza will fancy himself, no doubt, but will he be smart here? If he can clear the ropes like he can from the other end, there's a large breeze coming across the ground from the hillside towards the tennis courts, which he's hitting towards. Can he maybe just put that ego in his back pocket for 1 over and then look to target from the other end? He struck that well and it's gone through. So the intent continues. Tracked him a little bit there. It hard at mid-off, and I'm not sure Stan Norman got a finger on that. I think that's gone straight through him, through his legs. Hopefully we don't see too many of that later on against Norway, but a meg nuts at mid-off, and 4 runs continues. So Dan Birrell now 25 of just 8 balls. Will he continue to go here against Farmer's strike bowler with against the wind, or will he continue to look to take it deep? No.
Off his waist. Oh,
Off his
some more football.
waist. Good plan there, I think, though, from George. Certainly that boundary in the leg side isn't huge, but it is against a force 5 wind, and wind can affect the conditions here at Grainville. So sometimes just summing up conditions, understanding the game scenario when you've got Farmer's strike bowler and one of Jersey's premier seamers on, and you're hitting into a big wind, you maybe just try and go about it a little bit differently for an over, even though the momentum's with them. Again, just not really seeing that intent from Jacques. That ball is a really good sort of example of why there's too many dot balls. He hasn't really gone through the shot, but his hands haven't stayed in, so the ball hasn't just dropped. If he's looking to get a single here, playing that shot, you'd want to play with the softest hands you can, drop it on the pitch next to you and get going, whereas a little bit punchy, but with no follow through, it's going to be a dot ball. Oh, and another misfield from Farmers here.
Go for 2 here if they want it. They don't want it.
It's well recovered. Young Ollie Ramage behind square there. No doubt would have liked to have taken it cleanly, but sometimes it happens. It's about how you respond in adversity, and he immediately sprinted down, saved another run. 1 ball to go in this George Richardson over. It's gone for 7 so far. 1 more boundary in this over and walkovers will really feel that they've got some momentum here. If he can manage to squeeze a wicket, Farmer's right ahead. Again, struck beautifully in the leg side. It's running quickly out to the leg side. Just for the 1. 8 off the over. 6 overs to go, Chloe. Predictions for the final score, please.
It's very difficult to say. Depending if Daniel decides to keep going at this strike rate. Like you say, walkovers will be wanting that 140, and I think they're going to get it. 140 will be the final score.
A few things that are talked about within T20 targets are double it after 12, and then can you get it as close to 10 and over in the last 4 overs. So 6 overs to go. 10 and over from here, my maths isn't that impressive. It's either 156 or 166. I think 156, yeah, thank you. Will be a fantastic effort from where they were. 55 for 2 off 10 has become 96 for 3 off 14. So certainly these last 4 overs after drinks, walkovers have wrestled their way back into the game. Huge thanks to 27 off 10 from Dan on strike now, and that's gone. Big wicket there, a big celebration. You can see what that means to the Farmers players. Scotty Van Breeder, as we mentioned, one of the gentle giants of Jersey sport, but in the heat of the competition, he's delighted with that one. Tough ask after what you just seen in the last over from Dan Birrell against Stan Norman. First ball back, top of middle stump. So a quick innings comes to an end. I certainly think that predicted score would have depended a lot, like you mentioned, on how many more overs Bizza was able to bat for. But as you can see, walking out to bat now, Tian Kruger, who can clear those ropes, and they'll be hoping he does just that. So a well-made brief innings from the walkovers skipper has given them some momentum, but he would have liked to have continued. Again, this Farmers bowling lineup does not give up. They've got quality in abundance. First ball back, Scotty Van Breeder on the money, top of middle stump, swings the game firmly in Farmers' favour so far. So reminder, this is the semi-final. Winners of this game will go through to the final, due to be played here at 3 o'clock against OVs, who sealed their place in the final by finishing top of the league. Strong OVs lineup this afternoon, but I think either of these sides, if they can get through, will certainly fancy their chances.
Score predictions for later in the football then, England-Norway?
You're going to put me on the spot now. That's usually my job, but that's fine. Yeah, I think if you look at it on paper, England should beat Norway 8-9 times out of 10. But I think yourself, having not just played cricket international level, but at bowls level 2, going to throw out there a world champion at bowls. You wouldn't have wanted me to say it out loud, but I'm happy to. Pressure can be a funny thing, right? The closer and the further you go in the competitions, things don't always pan out as you'd seem. I'm not going to go for a Norway win. I'm going to say it's going to go to extra time, and I think it will go to penalties. If there's one thing I know about England, having grown up watching,
don't want penalties.
You don't. Well, I would have said that. You know, we've seen a couple of tournaments now with penalty success. Certainly 8 years ago, I would have said, oh God, no. But a little bit more confident in them now. But all I know is that there is usually a penalty shootout at every England tournament. I don't know if that's a stat, I might be wrong, but certainly from what I can remember, penalties tend to play a role in England's campaigns. So I'm going to say it's going to go to penalties, and I'm going to back an England win.
You watching it at home, or are you deciding to?
We'll probably be out. We've got a table booked somewhere. I think it's going to be busy. Saturday, the first time an England game's been on at a reasonable time, certainly.
10 o'clock at night, isn't it?
Not 3 a.m. like it was against Mexico, or 2 a.m. like it was against Mexico. As the ball gets squeezed in the leg side, quick outfield here. And it's just going to be 2. Well fielded by Joel Dudley out on that leg side boundary. So much better comeback there from Farmers. The 100 comes up with 5 overs to go. 150 will be what they're looking for. But a superb over from Scott Van Breede there. Just 18 off his 3 so far. Certainly be seeing him again in this final 5. George Richardson is now being held back for 1 over.
We're going to the young James here.
And I think Chuggy Pershard will feature as well. So plenty of international quality, plenty of experience. I think walkovers will be looking to target the young spinner here. Certainly think when you look at it on paper, you've got the very experienced international captain who's bowled in a lot of pressure scenarios. I can think of 3 or 4 overs he's bowled that got us out of a jam. So his experience and his ability to bowl at the death will be a factor. I wouldn't want to leave it too late with George Richardson with an over under his belt as well. So I might be looking to target this over to try and get them ahead before they go into the last 4. It's well bowled. Just held back a little bit there. What James does, he's not a big turner of the ball, but he does change his pace really well. As I say, he's got a bit more of an unorthodox action. As you can see on his release point, he doesn't even look where it's going. His head turns to turn as he loads off his back leg. But that is struck well, but good field placings with long off, very straight, keeps that just to 1. So bit of an unorthodox action, as I mentioned, but James has played under 19 cricket for Jersey, featured for Farmers many times in their first 11. So although young in age, plenty of experience there to succeed at this level. So Chloe, outside of here, you mentioned Switzerland, the next lot of international cricket. What else is planned this season, and then further into sort of next year as part of your ICC cycle?
Yeah, I think the rest of this season depends heavily on what happens at Switzerland. I think we've got a touring side coming over to be confirmed. Just a little bit of intent there shown from Tian. So it depends heavily on Switzerland. We have got a touring side over, lots still to be confirmed, but as of next year, we've got our Division 2 World Cup qualifiers, that's still to be confirmed. our opposition there and where that will be played. So looking forward to that being released, and that's a great opportunity for us to get back on that world stage.
Yeah, listen, I think, certainly as a avid watcher and viewer of the Jersey women's team over the last few years, the development and the age, as we mentioned before, is growing, but the experience at tournaments is really important. And a wicket falls. Just missing a straight one there. As I said, he's not big turner in the ball. Into the wicket, got him going across the line, and the stumps have been rattled again. So well bowled from James Bradbury. This was a brilliant over so far, just 3 from it, and it's just got even better. So 5th wicket down, another power batter, if you like, in the hutch. Not as many as he probably would have liked, but another wicket falls. Farmers, after that 4 overs after drinks where we saw Dan Birrell come out, where walkovers got some momentum, they've fought back here, and that's just what Farmers do. Everybody knows difficult to count Farmers out. They know how to win. They've done lots of winning over the last 4 to 5 years. They've certainly been the premier team in Jersey Premier Cricket in regards to results and trophies, both locally and European. So getting past them when the game's on the line in a semi-final was never going to be an easy job. There's 1 ball left in this over. 4 remains. We talked about trying to go at 10 and over for these last 5. Very much doubt that's going to happen this over, so they'll have some catching up to do. New batter, Ben Bealey, who can certainly strike a cricket ball. So Jacques, 28 off 41, will certainly want to finish now. I think tactically now, Chloe, we might see Jacques have to open up a little bit. He's a set batter. Certainly looks easier to bat on this wicket the longer you bat for.
Yeah, he's going to have to try and take a chance soon and take the responsibility in his hands now. He's faced 41 balls, so he's going to have to say to Ben, leave it to me.
Yeah, at some point, he's got to just go, I've had 41 balls here. I've got to be the man to take this on. You give yourself a few balls, and then if I go, you can push on when the new batter comes in. Just dovetail it nicely. But as I mentioned, that over, I would have thought that would have been one to target, but a brilliant set of 6 from James Bradbury. And as mentioned, the experience in these last 4 overs is about to show. I imagine Chuggy's going to bowl the final 2 from this end, and then we'll see Scott. I think Scott's got 1 left, and George Richardson. So 4 overs of international cricketers to come, which shows you the strength of this Farmers bowling lineup.
Probably not what you want either for the walkovers camp now, facing them international bowlers, but you're going to have to take a bit of a chance now, and 4 overs to go. 103 for 5 on the board. Chuggy with his 3rd. He's only gone for 6 in his first 2. I'm not going to take the 2 there. They're just wanting to take the single.
I think that's where they'll certainly look back on it and think that they've left a fair few out there. We saw that too when the momentum was going their way, what that did not just to the score but what it does to the sideline. They've just not been able to get that going. They've not run that well between the wickets, and they've not found the boundary as often as they should. So combination of that makes it difficult. With the wind, it's just going to be a bit of spin, but well recovered. A good chuck in. Just the singles coming. We've seen a very short period of walkovers with Dan Birrell, the skipper, finding the boundary for multiple consecutive balls, which helps the scoreline, but if it's just a flash in the pan, it doesn't help the rest of the team. That you could hear from the skipper, a big hold as the ball was coming out of Aman Fori's hand. That's the experience telling. Just knew the scenario, but unfortunately for Farmers, an extra run on the scoreboard, but the set batter now back on strike. Well bowled. So Chloe, you've spent a lot of time captaining in international cricket. Slight difference in the women's game is that you're only allowed 4 outside the circle. Just talk to me about a captain's mindset when you're in these last 4 overs. What sort of things do you think really help the game situation, and what sort of things will you talk to your bowlers about?
Yeah, it's definitely about where they're trying to bowl to start with. I think it's very important in women's cricket, especially to have your leg side fielders out on the boundary. Yeah, with only having 4, you kind of lose that one, especially when we played T10, and obviously you're allowed 5. So that was a nice addition.
If you're the bowling captain.
Yeah, helps massively. Here, I'd just be looking to set my field right. Go the probably 4 leg side. So it all depends on what the batter's trying to do. They're trying to open up the offside. Can they hit behind square with a few ramps? So yeah, definitely look at the conditions, look at what the batter's trying to do here, and definitely use my 4 fielders out probably on the leg side.
And that's why I think we've seen such popularity in this format of the game. It can swing and change, the momentum can go just in 20 overs. It can be very different from over to over, and certainly for those of you, and myself included, who like the tactical side of the game, it creates headaches, but it can also create moments of genius from the captains, who play such an important role, especially with the fast-paced element of it. So as we mentioned, George Richardson with 1 left. I imagine he'll take the 18th. We'll see Chuggy again in the 19th, and then I think they'll finish with Scott Van Breeda. George back. A bit of room from Ben, who works the ball down to 3rd man for a single to bring the set batter Sharks on strike. I think 3 overs left now. He's just got to put bat to ball. If it comes off, a bit of momentum to finish. If it doesn't, so be it. Certainly think 140 at least. Certainly you've seen that period of Dan Birrell batting. That shows you the extent of the quality of this pitch. That's well bowled. Again, beautiful line length. Not too full, not too short. 4th stump. Batter not really moving his feet much, but just shows the quality on here. There's a left-hander as well. I think he'll be looking the eye up this leg side, or he should be, with this wind and the boundary sizes. There's a left-hander he's striking towards the tennis courts, which is where the force 5 wind is going. So this is the over he wants to try and get. And I don't think that's smart batting. I'm not convinced that dab in the offside, which we've seen a lot in his innings, has paid much due. I think what we should be looking to see here is a left-handed batter get onto off stump, get his head closer to the ball and access that leg side where that force 5 wind can grab hold of the ball and take it with a bit of momentum. So he's batting on off stump there, but he wants to open up that leg side. That's well bowled. That could be 2.
Got to push here. And they are. That's better running.
Certainly better running. Maybe a few overs too late, but good running nonetheless. So 2 balls to go. Boundaries are going to need to start coming here. There's no doubt that they're now in danger of being way under par. And again, no intent there. I'm not sure what his thinking is here. There's 14 balls left, and he's trying to dab one in the offside. Short ball, with a reasonable sized leg side boundary and a force 5 wind, and he's trying to dab it in the offside. I don't think this is very smart batting with the scenario in play. Still 5 wickets in hand. A couple of youngsters to come, but experience of Ross Chadwick available who can bat, but the intent has to be right. That's better intent. Unfortunately, execution doesn't always match the intent, but at least the intent was there that time. So another good over, 3 off it. That's been a theme for the innings, and 2 overs to go.
George finishes his spell there, 24 for 2 after his 4 overs, so probably saying well done, and you've done your job there.
Agreed. Just got a wave there from Big Sammy Taylor. Those of you who are familiar with the walkovers legend, waving. He's got a big smile on his face, but I imagine he'll have wanted a few more runs for walkovers here, and I imagine he'd have wanted to have a bat out there today. When you look at the pitch, plenty of runs scored. A few in Evelyn League this year, still going strong, Big Sammy. His brother Will, we saw at the top of the order, get them off to a fairly swift start before being strangled down the leg side. So 2 overs to go. My prediction was right in the names but wrong in the order. They're going to bowl chuggy from this end, so one of them was going to have to change ends. They both bowled from that bowls club end, and it's going to be Scott back for the 19th, and Chuggy will bowl the last. Heaved into the leg side.
Just picked out the fielder, unfortunately. Did have a bit of room slightly to the left. There's a massive gap between the 2 fielders, but yeah, unfortunate there for Ben.
This is where, in normal scenarios, this would be extremely useful to have a left and a right-hander at the crease. With a big, strong wind, this over the right-hander would be hitting to the easier side, let's put it. Whereas now the left-hander's on strike. Bit of intent, and he's going to get away with this. This ball's coming straight to us.
Well fielded by Lee.
So, a boundary, much needed. Jacques now moving on to 38 of 51. The intent much better. Just saying there, that left-right-hander at the crease allows them to target that boundary that's with the big wind. But I think both need to go here. That's a lovely shot with right intent, but what's been often the case in this innings, he's found a fielder behind square in the offside. That intent better, but again, another dot ball. So 5 off 3, 3 to go. I keep saying 140 is the absolute minimum I think you need on here. So struck through the offside, but only for 1. So 118, but that does bring the right-hander on strike, who can target that leg side boundary. I keep talking about it. Conditions are a massive factor in this game. Boundary ropes pretty similar all the way around, so there's not a short side boundary, but there's certainly one where you're hitting with a force 5 wind is going to be the favourable side. So Ben hitting to it now. And another one that's coming straight to us in the commentary box. I'm going to get myself ready this time.
Brilliant pick up there from Lee. Underarm chuck in as well.
One-handed, might I add. But that's 2 balls in 1 over. We fielded in the commentary box. Not what we were expecting. Not what the batters are wanting to do either, but runs.
Walkovers will take it.
They will take it. They will take anything at this stage.
They've got no one behind square here, behind the wicket on the leg side, really. That's why them 2 have gone.
Straight up in the air. And a good catch. Well-deserved wicket. Scott Van Breede's bowled well here. This over's gone for 10 so far, but both boundaries, either an outside or an inside edge to us in the commentary box. So walkovers, no doubt. We mentioned 10 runs off each over for the last 6 would have got them to 150. They've not managed that until this over. Potentially too little too late, but certainly when you look at it from a walkovers perspective, it will all be on this power play.
Good catch there from young Ollie Ramage. As you can see, he's getting his hands above his eye line. And a good take. And in walks, I think it's Jack Gott.
It is, number 66 on his back. Joe Root's number. 2 very different cricket careers, might I add, but Jack loves his cricket. Back from university, straight back into this walkovers one side. And what I'm told is that he's been clearing the boundary when he's been playing, so no doubt he'll be trying to do that in this last over. With Jark still at the crease though, this final over, they've still got a batter who can target that wind assisted side. Certainly from the field, what I'm looking at, it looks like he's not going to be tempted to hide it outside off stump here. I would be tempted to think about hiding the ball. I think if the leg side boundary to the left-hander here was a lot shorter, I think you'd be tempted to go wide Yorker. But I think he's almost, having seen the innings so far, 39 off 53, we've not seen Jark clear the ropes yet. Doesn't mean it can't be done. A few maximums in this over with a bit of momentum into the second innings will be just what he wants. I just can't think that that's good cricket. It's just not good cricket there. I don't understand why he's trying to go through the offside there. That's just, I just think with this wind and that leg side boundary, I know I keep mentioning it, that's what he's got. Not sure if a message could go out, but anyway, Jack was playing hit and run in the last over. Jark didn't want to run, and a run out for walkovers. Well, quite immaterial if he continues to finish this over with a few boundaries, but a little bit of a summary of that innings there, where dot ball in the offside, not great running between the wickets, has sort of been a theme of this walkovers innings. Young Ollie Ramage well fielded again. Perfect throw. One bounce throw over the top to Chuggy Pershard. So well fielded again. And a lovely rolling stop there from the keeper, Jack Kemp.
Yeah, I think this brings young Theo Bell to the crease, and also a left-hander, so don't need to change the field as such. Theo's got 4 balls here, just to try and open his arms up.
Yeah, and this is where walkovers as a club are at. Certainly their youth development has been their focus over the last few years, which is just starting to come to the fore. A number of youngsters in this side today, maybe not necessarily just through merit, but more for experience. These are going to be the future of the club. Young, both Theos, Theo B, Theo Vautier as well. So great opportunity for them to get some pressure cricket under their belt. But 3 balls left, not enough off this over so far. Straight at the fielder is going to be just another 1. So 2 off the first 4 balls. And this is exactly what Chuggy would have hoped for. 14 off his 3.4. Where have we seen a skipper bowling economically and leading from the front before, Chloe?
Wouldn't know. Wouldn't know.
Oh,
well
struck
done.
that well, and Theo's managed to get out the way.
Good sliding stop there, nearly a...
All action cricket, but again, good running, good intent, bit of youth, a bit of energy. It had to be 2, and you could just hear from the sideline a little bit of noise. So boundary here gets them to 130. It's something to bowl at. I think ultimately this game is going to come down to those first 6 overs of this second innings. If walkovers can get early wickets, they're in the game. If Farmers bat it well, then they'll be absolutely way ahead of this game. So they're going to go. That's a brilliant pickup and a superb throw from Adam Bradbury. Keeps it to 1. So Farmers have been extremely impressive there. Bowlers have executed. Chuggy Pershard just going for 17 off his 4 overs. No wickets, but he won't mind that, because ultimately on a day like today with that deck, that is a superb economy rate. So I think that makes it 127, the final total. We'll just check that because they did complete the first run, so I think it will be, yeah, just changing that now. So I think it will tick over to 127, which it has on the scoreboard. So 127 the final score as Farmers come together there. Certainly we use that word momentum. The momentum firmly sits with Farmers here with just 126 on the board from a walkover's point of view. So looking at the batting card, dominated by 1 score, 43, but the strike rate, the main issue there. Off to a good start. with the openers, finding the boundary before a couple of wickets for George Richardson swung the game in their favour and never really looked back. A brief innings there from skipper Dan Birrell, 27 off 11, absolute standout. Showed the way on this wicket that it can be done. Nobody else really getting going or striking at the rate that they needed to be. Fantastic performance from this Farmers attack. James Bradbury, brilliant from him. 3 overs, 1 for 12. 2 opening bowlers leading with the wickets, and then the experience of our international captain Charles Pershard. Just 4.25 economy on this wicket. That can be a massive swing in this game. So join us for the second innings. Chloe, thank you for your time. Much appreciated for your insights, and hope you enjoy the rest of today. So Farmers will be 128 to win, and I think this is going to be all on those first 6 overs. Don't miss out. Come back, tune in. If even better, get yourself down to Grainville and jump in the car as quick as you can. This game will all be on the first 6 overs. We'll see you then. Your legend. I'll need him for that one on there for Monday.
Whenever you need them.
Okay, welcome back to the semi-final here. As you can see, the umpires making their way back to the middle. Walkovers in a tight huddle to discuss how they're going to defend this certainly below par total. 127 they made off their 20 overs. Certainly not the innings they would have looked for on this wicket and this outfield. Stranger things have happened in cricket, but they're going to have to get past two strong opening batters. Stan Norman and Joel Dudley walking out. Joel Dudley certainly one to keep an eye on here. He will be playing his shots. He's an attacking opening batsman. We've seen him in the past play some fantastic cricket shots. He's not been a feature regularly in this Farmers side, but on his day we know he can certainly be dangerous. As I mentioned earlier, Stan Norman been playing a lot of cricket, captain in Cambridge University, playing lots of cricket, both 4-day T20 and 50 over cricket, so lots to do. Keeper's got his helmet on, which suggests the spinner's going to take the first over here, which I don't dislike that move from walkovers. I quite often like the first over being bowled by a spinner, just to sort of say to those batters, do you want to take us on from ball one? We're going to try and bowl at the stumps. If you miss it, we're going to get a wicket, but are you going to play attacking, or are you just going to take that first one off? I think what certainly having won the toss and bowled first has been more than Farmers would have hoped in terms of how far ahead of the game they are, but certainly when you look at it now, they'd be delighted with that bowling innings. What it allows them to do is adjust how they need to go about playing these 20 overs. If it was 200 on the board, I imagine we'd be seeing fireworks from the start. However, 127, way below par, gives them an opportunity to have a slow power play and still be comfortable in this game. But walkovers have only got one option. They've got to take 10 wickets here if they're going to win, and that all starts in the power play. A few wickets here early will create a bit of nervousness in the Farmer camp, but realistically this should be a breeze for their batting lineup. So Will Taylor, as he did in the first innings, takes the first ball with both bat and ball. Really good start. Watchful from Joel Dudley. I think what Farmers will need to do well here is try and break the back of this chase early, create no opportunity for walkovers to feel like they're in the game, and be absolutely ruthless. Oh, no doubt a quicker ball there from the left arm spinners. No shot played yet. 2 dot balls, but as we said there, with just 127 on the board, it allows them to be a bit more watchful in these first couple of overs. Tossed up on the stumps. Will only be one, or should only be one, I'll say. And they come through for one. So just one off the first 3 balls. On these sorts of wickets where the ball's not going to do much sideways, the key to taking wickets is building pressure. Hard to do on a surface like this where the ball, or sorry, the game is certainly in the batter's favour. And with walkovers not having a lot of runs to play with, creating pressure is going to be difficult here. Again, on the stumps, top of the stumps is where you want to be. Another dot ball. Just one off this first over. Like I said, first over in a power play with a spinner. Bit of cat and mouse. Do you want to take me down? And he's tried to. Almost chopped on with that angled bat. But another dot ball. We saw plenty of that in the first innings. An angled bat to backward point. We saw plenty of dot balls created in that area of the pitch. That is a superb start. Other than a wicket, that's what the walkovers would have hoped for, but you still feel that with that small total on the board, Farmers will not be bothered by that initial over. If you didn't join us for the first innings, if you weren't down here or you weren't watching on the live stream, Farmers put on an absolute clinic, both in the field and with the ball. Led by their strike bowlers, those selected in the Jersey squad to take on Nepal next week. Scotty Van Breeda, George Richardson with that extra pace. And then the wiliness of the old veteran Chuggy Pershard, who has played in so many scenarios for Jersey. You just felt like this wouldn't be too big an occasion, certainly for him. Talking of Jersey strike bowlers, skipper has the ball in the hand, Daniel Birrell. I would certainly say he needs to make some inroads for his team here. He did it for 10 balls with the bat. We saw 2 massive sixes. One went into the tennis courts. 1 for 27 off 10 balls. It showed just how good this wicket is, but he didn't do it for long enough. Walkovers would have hoped that he could have batted for at least another 10 balls and get them up to something more competitive around 150, but they didn't. So his job's with the ball in his hand now. Big appeal, and I think certainly having given what would be described as a dubious decision, certainly think, not sure he got too close to it in the first innings. I think that was an excellent decision there from the umpire. No signal, tells you he thinks there's some bat on it, and I would have agreed. There was 2 noises there, certainly a little bit of wood before it hit the batter's toe and ran off for 1 run. A little bit leg side there. If there is a weakness to Dan Birrell's bowling, is that he can leak it leg side a little bit from time to time. He's got the ability to do it a bit with it both ways. He's very skillful with that new ball. He's done it a number of times for Jersey in recent years. Just at times he tends to just fall away a touch in his action, which lets the ball just carry on a little bit too far leg side as he comes in now. And that is the positives to it. So 2 balls there, 1 absolute beauty out there, pitched on about middle and off, nipped away, maybe a little bit wide up, but play and miss from the batters, exactly where he needs to be. As you can see from the body language of these batters, they are not fussed about the run rate. There certainly doesn't look like there's any pressure on the sideline or out there. There's no pressure on the scoreboard, and walkovers need to take 10 wickets. It's going to fly away. Bit of spin. Well fielded. Young Theo Vautier by the looks of it down there. Thought he might have been in the game for a minute there. Everybody started, the walkovers side started screaming catch. Didn't carry to him. He adjusted well and just 1 run. Just like you can see in the first innings, George Richardson bowling from this end with a bit of extra pace and rhythm, bowled beautifully. Dan Birrell here will want to follow that. Couple of wickets at the top, get them in the game. That's a lovely shot. Beautifully timed behind square in the offside, and that's going to race away for 4 with the extra pace. And that's a lovely shot to get Joel Dudley going, 6 off 5. That's what he can do. Unbelievable hand-eye coordination. Maybe not necessarily moving his feet as well as he can do, but the timing and the placement, using that pace behind square in the offside, produces Farmer's first boundary. Well struck again. Straight at mid-off. Well fielded there by Will Taylor. That'll be a theme of this Joel Dudley innings. If he continues to bat, you'll see the ball come out of his middle of his bat a lot. Hand-eye coordination. Striking the ball lovely. Well fielded. No run. The end of the second over, 8 for none. If you're out and about doing your Saturday morning bits, hopefully you plan to join us down here at Grainville this afternoon. Final starts at 3 o'clock. OVs have secured their place. The winner of this game will join them. Boundaries open, serving food all day, refreshments on offer. Despite the strong winds, it's still a warm one. Certainly in this commentary tent, surrounded by sides, creating a bit of a greenhouse effect. But certainly don't feel sorry for me. I've got plenty of shade for the rest of the day. So get yourself down here, The family toys are outside the boundary as well, nice and safe behind the sight screen. And as I say, food and drink being served all day on this wonderful Saturday afternoon. So Will Taylor to continue with his left arm spin. He only went for one off his first over. Watchful first over from the Farmers lot. We'll see what they do now. Pushed off, and that's what I think we're going to see a big difference between the two innings. It's experience there, running at mid-on and mid-off. Grace, who joined us on commentary in the first 10 overs, mentioned that often in the power play in particular, mid-on and mid-off will be sat on the ring as batters look to go over their heads, which means if it goes to along the floor, there's a good chance of a run if you call early, which Stan did there. And that running can be the difference between 140 or 150 and 127. Ooh. Swept across the line. Again, a good call. Difficult to handle behind the wicket against the spinner, young Theo Vautier in the game again. But a sweep is what he plays. Joel's, I'm told, don't know it myself, but a very good hockey player. Sweep is always a good option for hockey players. Ooh. It's well bowled. On these wickets where he's not going to get much turn, you have to be bowling stump to stump as often as you can. You can see there Stan trying to create an angle and work it in the offside, but without that room, wasn't able to do so. Ooh. Again, just the one. Well fielded at mid-off by Ross Chadwick. This is a great start for walkovers. Will Taylor just gone for the 4 so far. We want to get out of this over. Oh, that's not where you want to bowl. 6 runs. As you can see, his displeasure there. Certainly annoyed with himself. That is not where he wants to be. Full toss into the pads of Joel Dudley. He's not going to miss out there. 6 runs. Another boundary to Farmers. Might be a little bit of a break in play here as they search for a replacement ball or the ball that just went. That went very quickly down towards the bowls car park. So it might not join us very quickly. But it will slow the game down. Give walkovers time to consider their options. Until then, he'd executed beautifully. He just felt like potentially that was the start that walkovers wanted. They certainly would have wanted a wicket by now, but just a couple of Joel Dudley boundaries easing that pressure quickly for Farmers. So discussion around getting another new ball out. Certainly fielders will be searching for it down in the car park. Unfortunately, in short pockets of this ground, it's difficult to retrieve the ball, which does hold up play. So it doesn't look like the ball will be retrieved. Hopefully a couple of people are going to be down there in search of it. But in the meantime, a new ball's come out so that play can resume. Farmers now 17 for none with 1 ball to go in the 3rd over. Sitting very comfortably. Dot ball to finish, 17 for none after 3. Just 5.6 the run rate at the moment, but you can see at the bottom there, just on the left hand side, the required run rate 6.5, which Until that's up in the 9s, 10s, Farmers will not be fussed about the run rate. So, skipper Daniel Birrell, Stan Norman 3 off 8, will certainly want to get himself going here. Another big flash, a little bit of extra bounce from the seamer, helps him there. Stan now 3 off 9. As we talked about in the first innings, that partnership for the 3rd wicket of walkovers. Although the run rate was low, the issue really was that neither of them could get going. You can see here Joel striking over 100. Allows Stan to feel a little bit more comfortable at the other end and get himself going. Certainly I think the chat would have been, I'll look to bat and get us to the end. And Joel, you play your natural attacking game. Short ball, straight at the fielder at fine leg. Young Theo Bell. But again a run to put the fielders under pressure. Very difficult to field behind the wicket at this pace. Ball straight at him there. Could have been a boundary, but not this time around. So 18 for none. And so they've got off to a flyer, but at the same time they don't need to. So just settling themselves in, giving them a few balls to get themselves going. Joel Dudley certainly playing the more attacking role here. Ground starting to fill up here. A few people having finished their Saturday chores, no doubt, settling themselves in for a nice long afternoon, either in the sun or in the shade if you can find it. Hopefully you come join us here at Granville for what will be the final, certainly at 3 o'clock, but plenty more cricket left in this innings. Short ball, again, straight to the fielder at short fine. Well picked up, well fielded. But he couldn't prevent the leg by. Another run ticks by. Again, a little bit too leg side. I'm sure the bowler's delighted with that. He thinks because the batter's come across, that means he's got there okay, but it looked leg side to me. I know the captains and the umpires had a good discussion about wides before the game to ensure that everyone was on the same page. Maybe he forgot about it, but wide nonetheless. Extra ball. 20 for none off 3.4. That's a nice pick-up shot. It's well played by Stan Norman. Just the boundary he wanted. 4 off 10. He would look to have got himself going now. 10 balls on this wicket. Should he be confident after that? It's a lovely pick-up shot. We see that played well these days, where a lot of bowlers will try and cramp up batters by making sure that ball's in at the hip or in at the waist. Stan plays that sort of pick-up shot behind square in the leg side really nicely, using that pace over short fine or backward square leg. Another boundary for Farmers. Last ball of this over. And it's out. And a wicket. Gonna get hit. So, not sure what that was about in the middle, but it was just having a look at what was saying. I think he was just double checking that one was out. Maybe he thought he overstepped the line, but good catch down at deep third man. I think it was young Theo Vautier, who has been in a feature of this game in the field for the first few overs. There's a good catch there. Did the yards early, settled himself, took a great catch. The youngsters taking good catches today. So Stan Norman didn't really trouble the scorers there. One boundary. He was just settling himself in. So 24 for 1. I said at the start of this innings that walkovers are going to have to bowl them out if they're going to win. Mainly down to the pitch and the outfield here. They've just made their first inroads. So current run rate, 6 runs and over. Required run rate, 6.5. As I said, until that gets up at 9-10, Farmers will not be worried whatsoever. 9 wickets in hand. Still 2 overs left of this power play. It looks like Will Taylor will continue. Certainly they know the game is in this Farmers top order. They do bat deep. Plenty of batting to come. But if they're going to make any inroads, they need early wickets. So Will Taylor to continue his 3rd over in the power play. And another one. 2 in 2. Dudley struck it well, probably too well. And 2 wickets in 2 balls. Just create something. That's what we were talking about. Couple of wickets. Momentum huge in T20 cricket. All of a sudden walkovers are up and about. Plenty of batting in this Farmers lineup. You'll see on the replay here, just a touch full to be able to get underneath it as much as he would have liked. And a simple catch for Ben Bealey there at mid-on. Well held. They're never easy, especially in pressure moments. Interesting move here by Farmers. Scott Van Breede walking in at 4. Usually they will hold him back. He's definitely a boundary power hitter. Usually they'll keep him out the power play and he can hit spinners miles. But he's up at number 4 with plenty of batting to come. In all the chaos, 2 wickets in 2 balls and a lost ball, I've been joined by my next guest, Harrison Carline, captain of St One Springfield, who finished in 4th place out of 4, unfortunately. Not the season they would have liked in T20 cricket. Harrison, welcome.
Hi Lee, nice to be with you.
Nice for me to start on a positive note with you.
Thank you.
Apologies about that, but let's get the elephant in the room out the way first.
Yeah.
Just give us a little bit of a sort of review of the SOS season in T20 cricket and the longer format that you've played so far. A little bit stop-start. First time in a while you guys haven't made finals day. What sort of thoughts from the campaign?
Yeah, a bit of a strange one really. I think as much as you summed up, it was very much sort of Jekyll and Hyde. We one day very, very good, next week couldn't recognise us, so I can't quite put my finger on it so far. I've been thinking about it, so that's one definitely to review. We seem to have been a lot more solid in the longer format, which is maybe I would probably expect it the other way around, so a little bit of a review to happen into that, but it's nice to be here watching finals day anyway. I'd love to play in it though.
Well, one thing I do want to talk about it is the game that you did play in last year. Certainly we've not seen that level of striking apart from a few balls from Dan Birrell today in this semi-final. Just talk us through that semi-final experience from your eyes last year and how that all went.
Yeah, that was a great game of cricket, right? Exactly what you want on a finals day. Plenty of boundaries, plenty of drama, so a great game to be involved in. One that you don't want to come out on the wrong end of, which you unfortunately did again, but always nice to be involved in games like that nonetheless. We loved it, and obviously would have wanted to be back here this year playing another similar game of cricket, but it wasn't to be this year, so just the way it goes. You were on commentary that day as well, weren't you?
We all learn some things from experiences, and I can certainly say as the one who is responsible for putting rules and regulations together within club cricket, I didn't quite know them myself. Those who might have tuned in will remember a slight panic from myself when the game went to a tie, and no one was quite sure what that meant. Obviously last year as well there was a bit extra on it because the winners of the semi-final went to, or were supposed to have gone to Spain before unfortunately the ECN had to backtrack a little bit, so there was a lot on it, a lot of pressure, and let's just say the rules and regs are clear that a super over now is in play, and I confirmed it with the captains before the weekend, just so everybody, and I made sure of that. So a bit of learning from ourselves. As you mentioned there, H, the sort of the nice thing about cricket in general is the change of formats. Mm-hmm. You know, you think of a Premier League season, 38 games of 90-minute football. You know, if your season's not quite going as planned, there's not much refreshment other than a cup run. Just talk to me about how you're going in that longer format and sort of thoughts for the rest of the season coming.
Yeah, we seem to be travelling pretty well so far. I think our bowling attack is obviously a big strength of ours. It's a good attack. It's good at generally sort of constraining teams, and that's generally a pretty good strength of ours, and that's been good over the 40 over cricket this year. So batting wise, we've had some big scores obviously to start the year. Maybe not the consistency that we would want in terms of looking to put, let's say, 250 on the board most weeks, but again, I think at the start of the year we had obviously Googe got a double 100, then another 100, and that's always going to sort of end up in you making some big scores. So we haven't had that since. So hopefully Googe, myself, and others can get back on that, and we can start putting on some big scores again and making life a little bit easier for the bowlers.
As Dan Birrell continues, so both bowlers now will bowl out the power play, 3 each from either end. They know that that's their strength, so they're trying to get another wicket here. We talked about in the first innings that stat around 3 wickets in the power play wins you or can lose you 70% of games of cricket. I've seen it go the other way a few times. I think they'll be looking for one more here. So yeah, coming back to your sort of season so far, I'd certainly say when you look at that team sheet on a Friday night, quite a lot of chopping and changing, I think, for you guys this year. You've not really been able to get that consistent 11 out as often as you probably would have liked.
Yeah.
Yourself included, travelling to the UK to play some Premier Club cricket in the UK, and others unavailable on various dates. I think, we see that across all club cricket in Jersey with the population that we have. The depth of Premier League cricketer might not be where it could be, but certainly you've got a Channel Islands League campaign coming up after this week.
Yeah, 100%. Just going to try and continue sort of where we left off in the longer format. That's a big wicket.
And certainly
It doesn't seem happy.
a little bit of controversy again here. Batter not delighted with that decision, and Chuggy Pershard certainly frustrated at that decision. First innings we saw a couple of batters not happy with their decisions. Ultimately, as I mentioned, it's not out in the scorebook. It's out in the scorebook. Whether you're happy with it or not, not many batters are ever happy of getting out.
No, it's one of those.
I'd have to say, from the naked eye, from where we are, looked a little high, but ultimately we're not stood there getting the best view of it. So
potentially a bail trimmer.
A bail trimmer.
Yeah.
You're going for an umpire's call upon review.
I am. It didn't bounce as much as I thought it was going to, actually, and I didn't think as much as Chug thought it was going to with the shot that he played with it. But
if young Theo Vautier was letting go of the ball, I might be inclined to agree with you there. But 6'5" seamer, back of a length doesn't tend to. Anyway, wicket's a wicket. 30 for 3.
Snicked him off. Yep, snicked him off.
And that is a huge swing in the game.
Oh, that's massive.
And once again, we've seen 2 wickets in 2 balls, and they are losing wickets in clusters. One thing we did say at the start of today was that, start of this innings, was that walkovers will need to take 10 wickets if they're going to win this game, and 4 of them have fallen already.
I've
and
come in at a good time.
4, well, depends who you're backing, but certainly from a neutral point of view, this makes a game of it. There was me thinking this might be quite an easy run chase. 127, not a large score, certainly on this wicket. But they've made the decision. I think that the interesting decision from the skipper here that's made and paid dividends is that he has kept with his strike bowlers, Will Taylor from one end, Dan Birrell from the other, to decide to bowl themselves out in the power play has got them wickets. And with 98 runs still to go, just 6 wickets now in hand, George Richardson comes to the crease, who's been in good form for Farmers. He's played a couple of nice knocks. He doesn't bat much above 9 for Jersey, but that's a big jump in certain standards, but certainly he's got the capability to build a partnership here with Scott Van Breede. Dan Birrell on a hat-trick. Throws a stinking wide one out there. And let's be honest, we're going to be replaying that in the office
100%,
next week.
2.4, I'll take note of that.
2.4. We'll be rewinding back to that because no doubt he'll want to show us his wickets once he gets back in. But on a hat-trick, tails up, momentum with you. He's gone for a wide Yorker, or probably not meant for it, but it's ended up being a wide Yorker. You can laugh about it at least. We have a game on. And that is well bowled, but well played. Certainly game on here. I think Farmers will still be pretty confident. Two batters at the crease who are in form. Scotty Van Breede certainly won't be fazed by this. Those of you that know him locally will know that high performance sport he's very used to. Just talk to me, H. You've played a lot yourself, both golf, but obviously for Jersey, playing a lot of high pressure games, high pressure formats. Just talk to me about if you're walking out, not often that you would be at number 6, but if you were walking out at number 6 here, just talk to me about your mindset as a batter, 30 for 4, fielding team up and about, no doubt going to be saying a few things and in your face because that's the competition. Give us an insight into what his mindset might be here.
Yeah, I think the best way to go about this is obviously not chasing that many. I think you can take the scoreboard away from your eyes for a few overs, I think, and just bat with your partner and just look to build a partnership. The rate's not going to be, and it really shouldn't be an issue if you're just batting. It's such a good wicket, such a quick outfield that you don't really have to worry about that. The only way you're going to get yourself in a bit of a pickle is potentially thinking about the situation. So I just sort of leave the scoreboard alone for a few overs and then come back and maybe see where they're at on the 10th over, I think. Obviously, a little bit different for George, batting a bit higher than he would usually. But I think, like you said, with Scotty out there with him, I think he'd probably be pointing him in the right direction. I think looking at this game now, I think Scott is obviously a massive wicket in this situation, and will be the one that walkovers are looking for, 100%.
Absolutely, we've seen it a number of times where Farmers maybe were behind the 8 ball and Scott Van Breede with the bat has fought them back into contention. They'll certainly be wanting him to bat for another few more overs here. I certainly don't think his heart rate's going to be too high, H. I think he's a cool, calm character. You know him well from the men's squad.
Yeah, one of the nicest blokes you'll ever meet. And like you say, he played plenty of high performance sports, so he is exceptionally chilled. So I don't think this will faze him too much. I think he'll back himself and he'll just look to. I think he'll just be thinking if he's there at the end, then Farmers will be the winning team. I think that'll be his thought process.
So, change of bowling as he beats the bat for a second time. Tian Kruger from the bowls club end. And certainly things don't look as easy as they might have been at one stage. Like you mentioned there, take your mind off the scoreboard for a couple of overs. Just get yourself settled. Partnerships will be key in getting back over the line. Just keep an eye if you're watching on the stream at that required run rate in the bottom left. It's just creeped above 7. That's certainly not alarming for the batting team. It's very manageable on this pitch and with this outfield, but you'd certainly say that with the momentum of the game, we talk about that word again in T20 cricket, the momentum sits with walkovers at the moment.
I think a good bit of captaincy there, actually. I think with mid-on started up, first ball of the over, then went back second ball, and maybe a bit of a sign that Scott is potentially thinking about the situation. Just look to work across one into the leg side, maybe not something he'd usually do. It's going to run away, I think, is it? Yeah, and then they've brought him back up, but unfortunately it's given him a bit of width there to put his hands through, and I think that will take a bit of pressure back off him.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen a lot of today, where we didn't see a lot of that in the first innings from the Farmers bowlers. They were able to keep this pressure on. You'd certainly say the first 3 balls there was the bowlers. That one, he'll want back, short, wide. Although there was a chance at backward point, that should go for 4 nearly every ball. That's not where he wants to be bowling. just relieves a little bit of pressure, and that required run rate comes back down under 7. Again, width, we talked about earlier on when I was chatting to Chloe about on these sorts of wickets where it's in favour of the batters. The line is going to be more important than anything. You mentioned there about the batter's mindset. Just talk to us about where you'd be now if you had the ball in your hand.
Yeah, I think on flat wickets, I think, like you say, get rid of width, keep the stumps in play, really. Good surfaces, any width batters, like you just seen, can just put their hands through the ball. So if you stay at the stumps, there's a little bit of bounce. So if you stay if you stay at the stumps, it's with the bounce, especially from that far end, it's not going to be as easy to hit straight down the ground. So I'd be just trying to keep the stumps in play and hope that my fielders in the ring do a good job.
So there you go. A bit of an insight into both sides of the game here, with the game in the balance. So interesting to see how they go about this. Scotty van Breeden, no doubt, naturally more of an attacking batter. Maybe going to have to play against his natural instincts here. Run rate again goes above 7s. 36 for 4 after 7. And an interesting move by the skipper here. Interested to hear your thoughts, H. Yeah. He's going to bowl himself out.
Yeah, it's a brave move, but I like it. I think he knows, like we discussed before, this is the big wicket right now. So I think he's going to roll the dice a bit, which I don't mind. I think with such a low total, there's got plenty of other good bowlers as well out there. So, but he obviously backs himself to pick this wicket up. So this is a big over coming up, an important over. Well played.
And I think the batters know that, and I think they will play that accordingly.
It's quick.
And he is quick between the wickets. Unfortunately, a fumble down at third man is the first time the youngsters made a mistake today. Took a catch to get rid of Stan Norman, and some great fielding down at third man already from young Theo Vautier. But that time a fumble, and Scott was not going to miss out on an extra opportunity. But I think they'll play accordingly here. If they know that they can just see Bizzer out, that threat goes for the rest of the game. But I like the move from a walkover's point of view. I think it's a positive decision to try and get rid of that top order. They know, I think if we see Scott van Breeden walking off here, walkovers will be up and about. Not that they aren't already.
Yeah, no.
He's a big wicket in this scenario. Yeah. He'll know it. Farmers will also know it, but there is some good batting still to come. Adam Bradbury can hold the bat. Trying to think of who else might be to come, but we'll work that one out as he plays a beautiful shot through the offside. And it's definitely going to be 2. These two quick between the wickets. Doesn't look like anyone's backing up. And there's going to be 3.
I think that last one will hurt Dan a bit more, because I think with the 2s at the start of the over, he probably would have at least thought to himself, I've got a couple more chances to bowl at Scott, but that now takes Scott back off strike. So that's a bit of a shame. Yeah,
7 off the first 3 balls of this last over. Certainly not what Walkover's had in mind after a double wicket over the last time he bowled. Again, that required run rate's come below 7. I'm not saying it's a massive factor right now, but just keep an eye on it. If it creeps up to 9, it starts to be a little bit more difficult to manage, but boundary and over here gets them where they need to be. Well fielded in the offside. Still 2 balls to come. As I look to my right, I can just see Scott's wife, young Bo, coming into the ground. Loves his cricket. Joins the Future Reds programme on a Friday that you manage, H.
He does.
Just talk to us a little bit about your role at Jersey Cricket, sort of what your responsibilities are and sort of development side of things that we have going on behind the scenes at the moment.
Yeah, so watch his delivery. Well bowled and well played. Yeah, so obviously involved on the development side, so looking across Future Reds and then through obviously the My Club My Journey program, the Hero program. So we've got plenty going on. Obviously schools program as well. Plenty going on. So obviously bringing the game to as many people on the island as we can. And obviously, we've seen that in the numbers especially across my club, my journey and Hera. They're good, they're high. So there you go, a wicket. That's a wicket, Lee.
And that is off. That's a wicket, Lee. Interesting. Is that going to be your tagline for the future? Is it? Yeah. That's a wicket, Lee. Okay, good. So that is the last ball of his spell, unfortunately, for Farmers. So that's an interesting moment there. If he could have just seen off that last ball, he would have been out of the game, just 4 down. But 5 down now. Certainly would say that with 85 off 72, just 5 wickets in hand, walkovers will feel that they're just creeping ahead here. The run rate still isn't going to be a factor, but wickets with a bit of batting to come. Reece Palmer can certainly bat. He's been around for a number of years, and this scenario won't faze him, although he did tell me about his bat not being in a great place this morning, and he didn't bowl. And if he's going to walk out at 11, you'd be thinking whether he should have actually played in the first place. Maybe out of necessity, you don't know. Thanks to Andy Brown, who emailed me and let me know that Toby Britton is at his mother's wedding today. So that's why he's not able to be here. So congratulations to Jill Britton, who we know through coaching Toby for a number of years on her wedding day. I'm sure she would have liked Farmers to get over the line here as Adam Bradbury walks to the crease. So that's the end of Dan Birrell's spell. 4 wickets out of the 5 so far. That is a captain leading from the front, 27 off 10. To whistle a little bit of momentum, and then 4 wickets with the new ball. A huge swing in this game now, and I said the power play would be key, and that walkovers will need to bowl Farmers out if they are going to progress to the final. So game in the balance. Tian Kruger back on. Just need to get this partnership going here. That's a nice shot into the offside for no run. Just coming back to that development element. Talked about there the My Club, My Journey and the Hera programme. Just talk about, since their inception, what we've started to see. We've got a couple of youngsters out there in Theo Bell, Theo Vautier, the likes of the Bradburys and certainly Ollie Ramage. Just talk about how that has impacted the club game.
Yeah, so that's a great example of what we want out of these programmes, isn't it? So it gives children a pathway from the very start of their cricketing journey at a club and gives them the opportunity to come through and play, all the way through and play first team cricket. So that's obviously good for clubs themselves to have their own pathway. And that's, like you said, that's shown in 2 great examples there. And obviously looking on the Hera side of things, that is a bit of a newer programme, but something that we would obviously hope would develop towards that in the future as well. So yeah, I mean, like that's what you want from it, right, Lee?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what you want from every pathway. I think what we've certainly seen from it, I'll just continue it after this ball as Adam Bradbury faces up for the first time. Oh, that is a lovely delivery that he's played and missed. And certainly there's a good walkovers contingent over in the corner with their flag up and a gazebo. They're right in this game. At the halfway stage, they would have been a bit down, but right now they're certainly up and about. Just coming back to that point about the club programme, I think what's certainly been superb over the last few years is some of the individuals within the clubs who give up so much time to be able to get these young cricketers. And that's out as well. Given by George Thomas. I've got to say that one looked like it was hitting the stumps to me. We're on an angle, so I can't see. Wouldn't mind seeing a replay from straight on. Batter thought maybe it was going to be leg side, but if you don't get any bat on it,
no,
it's always an opportunity that the ball will go straight on.
Especially if it hits you on the full.
Especially if it hits you on the full. So another wicket falls, 44 for 6. I mentioned about the run rate before. Now I think Farmers really are struggling and up against it here. 84 off 68. Arman Furi, the new batter, and he can bat. Certainly seen him score plenty of runs in Division 1 cricket. Maybe not one of the first names on the team sheet in Premier League cricket, but he can bat, and if he can hang around for 5-6 overs, and Scott Van Breeder, who is obviously the main wicket that they'll want here, if those two can bat for just 4 or 5 overs. Create them close to that total, take it deep, get it down to 50 needed, then 20. You never know what might happen. So a low score thriller. Last year we had 199, plays 199.
Yep.
This year, if Farmers are going to get over the line, you feel that this will go deep and nerves will be about, and it could be a really good watch for us neutrals, but we'll see. Both these batters can finish the game. Certainly Scott Van Breede can clear the ropes. He might finish the game quicker than we think, or walkovers might continue this onslaught. 44 for 6.
Certainly in for a good finish, I think.
Yep. Again, well bowled, beating the outside edge. Maybe a little bit too much width, but played with an angled bat. Yeah, just coming back to that point we were making about that club pathway. Certainly since its inception, we've seen numbers grow. No doubt we're seeing the fruition of that within the club Division 2 into Division 1 now, with plenty of youngsters getting involved in the senior game. But I think what I really want to bring to the fore after this ball, it's going to go down. They might look for 2 here. Well attacked by young Theo Bell, who went one-handed. He's just being reminded by his skipper there, 2 hands is the way forward. Certainly a bit of confidence from the young man if he's going to go at the ball one-handed, but his skipper reminded him how to do it. Yeah, the point I've been trying to make for a few balls now is just how amazing the jobs are being done by those within the club who are facilitating it. You know, a lot of these guys don't get much for it other than just the pure reward of seeing these youngsters come and then play for their club. Certainly at your own club, Tim Oldham has been phenomenal.
Fantastic. In
turning that around. The fortunes, the numbers that you've seen this year, you know, some of the stuff we've seen on socials, and if you go up to Lecanavay on a Thursday evening, it's crawling with juniors. You've got James Cornt and his coaches working at Chirpies, who we've seen a lot of them come into our pathway at junior levels, who you work with in the under-13s. Will Church at Farmers has turned things around there with the help of multiple members. We're seeing plenty of people at walkovers. Brad Votier leading the charge there. They were maybe a little bit ahead of the game, ahead of the curve, maybe out of necessity when they first started. They didn't have a huge number of juniors, but certainly his work, and as we mentioned that's going to run away for 4 off his pads. I did say he's no slouch. First ball, maybe a bit of a loosener from Ross Chadwick with a bit of extra pace. He's not a slouch. Worked just through wide fine leg, if that is a thing, for 4. So as we said, the more this continues, the more this partnership grows, nerves will start to change. That's a nice shot again for no run. Well fielded in the offside. Pembele diving to his right, moving well at backward point.
Keeper up for Ross here. A bit different to what we've seen in the past.
Corbs will certainly back himself. Ooh.
I think a clear sign here about what we discussed earlier, keeping the stumps in play. A lot of dismissals have been leg before or bowled, obviously. I think obviously nick off Jack Kemp, but I think certainly keeping the stumps in play here and looking for a mistake.
That's again well bowled. I think what it also does is it allows you to set that field straight. What's interesting here is that the captain is gambling, no doubt. I think every fielder in the ring here? Have we been slow to pick up on that one? I think every fielder, as we say that now, with 2 balls to go, is spreading the field, which I think is the right way to go. Certainly he's gambling on the fact that he wants Armand on strike more than Scott. So what he's doing is just that, although that might be 2. He's turned blind and said yes, but a comfortable 2. Ideally they would have wanted 1. The plan here is certainly to get Fourie on strike and keep Scott Van Breede at the other end. By moving the field out for the last 2 balls, he's hoping to get him on strike for the next over, while Scott sits on his bat at the other end and watches the game unfold.
Yeah, it's the best seat in the house. Oh no.
No, and he really is sitting on his bat there. I don't think he left the crease. I think he's quite happy to take strike for the next over, which is a bit of a dangerous ploy to take. We see it a lot in cricket sometimes when you get a little bit too caught up in who's on strike, who's not, and turn down potential runs. Momentum can be lost and it's hard to find it again. But as we speak, drinks break will be taken, and walkovers having been 55 for 2 after their 10 overs, 51 for 6 is Farmers. So you would say at the halfway stage, walkovers certainly have the advantage.
Certainly, I think, 100%. But I think, like we said before, they will be wary as long as Scott Van Breeder is still at the crease. They know that he's been good in pressure situations for Farmers all year, and they know that he's a more than capable batter. So they will have an eye on that. I think if we do see that wicket fall, then we could see a pretty hefty celebration.
Let's look at the bowling figures for you. One that stands out more than others, 4 wickets for the skipper Dan Birrell. An important figure that you need to look at as well is the amount of overs been bowled. He has bowled himself out, so we won't see him again in this contest, and if it does go deep, he's going to need to rely on someone who hasn't yet bowled. Simple maths would tell you can't bowl 20 overs with 4 bowlers, so someone else is going to have to bowl here. Farmers will know that, so they're going to keep calm. They're going to know who to try and target. Certainly Scotty, as we mentioned, having played a lot of very good sport, understands the tactical side of the game. He'll be looking to try and take down someone, the 5th bowler. I think we'll see maybe young Theo Bell, maybe Robin Carnegie.
A bit of Ben Bealey as well. Well remembered. Good leggy. Got all the tricks that he needs to. Quicker balls, wrong ends. Yep, I think. So he'll be the one that. Would you go with? Yeah, I probably would. I think I know what Dan's doing at the moment. I think we know that Scott's strength generally lies with spin, so he's sort of staying away from that for now. But he will need to go to spin very shortly. But ball turning away from the right-hander is always a great option, especially if he can land it. Ben is dangerous. He's a big spinner of the ball. Yeah, we've seen that more modern approach in cricket more than ever now, with wanting your spinners to bowl away from the bat. We've even seen a couple of bowlers who now bowl left and right-handed. One that plays cricket certainly that I can think of with Asa at Glamorgan, Ben Kellaway. I've not seen him do it so much lately, but he certainly has that in his locker. So it's really important that you have that thought process of, can we turn it away from the bat? Certainly leg side is the favourable side for hitters. And if you can turn it away from that leg side, that's a big bonus. So the game will be decided in the next 10. Thanks for joining me, H. Stick with me if you don't mind. Fine by me. To the conclusion of this game. For the neutrals and for myself, I'm hoping for a tight finish. Whichever way it goes. But certainly a tight finish is good for the neutrals. I didn't quite catch, Lee. Did Will Taylor have one left, did he? He does have one left, okay, yeah. He bowled 3 in the power play and then came off. So he's got one left, which no doubt we'll see him again. If it gets tight or if they get down to the last couple of wickets, they'll bring him back on. Because, like you mentioned, I think he's their main bowler who will attack the stumps. He doesn't bowl many outside of the stump line. And he makes you have to take risks that you maybe don't want to take. So walkover's certainly up and about at the moment. Scott Van Breeder on strike with 10 overs to go. Run rates creeping up towards 8. Still not something I'd be concerned about. Certainly with Scott Van Breeder out there, 10s is very doable. It's the wickets that are important here. 4 wickets to go and walkovers will be through to the final to play OVs. If that happens, we will have a new name on the trophy. Farmers very deservedly won it last year. I mentioned before about that innings from Nick Greenwood, the standout in the final. He's not here today. They would dearly love him right now. And that's not where you want to be first ball after drinks. Short and wide down leg side. And well played. 4 runs. And we saw in the first innings that momentum after drinks. There's a bit of a thing in cricket about how that changes. Drinks break 1 or 2 wickets after drinks. Actually, in the first innings, it went the other way. We saw Dan Birrell come out and they got about 40 runs off the next 4 overs. So maybe we'll see the same again here. that's where you want to be, right there, right in and around the top of that middle and off stump. You can stay there. He's going to force Scott Van Breede to do something maybe that he doesn't want to do.
That's good cricket. Get your boundary and then get off strike. 5 off 3 balls. That's what they need. I'm just looking over to my left. I can see 3 flagpoles. I can see 3 different countries on the flagpoles. I'm keen to get your thoughts ahead of what's starting on Monday. We've got the DFDS International Series getting going. Jersey taking on Nepal, who, those of you who recently watched the T20 World Cup back in February, took England to the last over. Lots of strength. Just give me an indication there about thoughts ahead of it as a player.
Certainly very exciting few weeks to look forward to. Obviously was lucky enough to get to watch and train a little bit yesterday as well, so a bit of an insight into what to expect, and I think 2 very good games of cricket would be the right way to go. I think like you say, took England very close, so I think everybody is very much looking forward to it. Ooh.
That is what you'd describe as an aggressive stroke. What has happened and what we talked about in the last over, and I'll come back to that international series in a minute, H, but the field is in, both mid-on and mid-off are up, mid-wicket's up, which is interesting. With that leg side boundary with the wind, he's tempting him here. He's saying, you're not going to get any singles easily, I want to keep you on strike, but if you want to take the risk, you can have a boundary. I like it.
Yeah, agreed.
It's definitely what you would describe as aggressive captaincy. A lot of captains might be tempted to just sit in, protect the boundaries and just let them get going. We talked about partnerships. I think dot balls are also going to create that pressure that you need.
Yeah, he's just trying to drive that rate up a little bit, I think, down to a point where if he can get it to 9, somewhere around 9, then maybe Scott can't quite play in the exact way that he'd want to play in this situation in terms of 1 boundary and then get off strike. He might need to look a little bit more on the aggressive side, so I quite like it, to be honest.
Yeah, and you talked before about Scott's strength against spin. We're going to see some spin back on now. Ben Bealey, you called it as well, the leg spinner. What's your mindset here if you're Scott? You know you can hit spin. I think what a smart decision here that's in play is he's hitting towards that wind-affected leg side boundary where it's going against you. So that's a good decision, but what would you think to do here if you were Scott?
I think I'd be looking to run pretty hard right now if I was Scott. Thankfully, there you go. Thankfully for Scott, he's much quicker than I am, so he's going to be able to run those 2s here, but only 1. So this is be interesting to see if the field comes up.
Is he going to stick with
like
this ploy?
Mid-off's
coming up, that's for sure. Mid-on might stay back. Yeah. He's sort of hanging 3/4, and now he's no, not sure. It's an interesting call. This is.
Still don't know.
He's going to leave him back, which is going to open up the leg side. Not a bad ploy against a leg spinner, going against the spin.
Yeah.
Might just get a leading edge.
Yeah, down and play it, short cover.
Boy.
Get down, Ben.
This is going to be a good contest. I think he's looking to take him on here.
Yeah,
I think he's had enough of working it around. 7 off 12. Certainly from that bat swing, there's some intent there.
Certainly was a high bat lift there.
That I wouldn't say is the best option. Taking your head way away from the line of the ball against the ball turning away from you anyway. Interesting ploy. The offside field is up. There is just cover out in that that offside, so there is room to play with. Flatter one. Straight down, long on's throat. Brilliant bit of fielding from Ross Chadwick. Keeps it to 1. So the series starts on Monday, H?
Yeah.
Feeling prepared, ready to go?
Yeah, certainly am. Plenty of hits this week. Probably going to have another one in between this and the final. So yeah, and then we'll train as a group tomorrow night. So yeah, definitely feeling prepared. Obviously, haven't had much 50 over cricket. It's the start of a long 50 over block for us. So it'll be nice to get back into it. I think is a batter. it's always nice to have a little bit more time on your side.
Yeah, you mentioned there a long block of cricket, of longer format cricket for sure. Just talk to us about the context of this upcoming series. What our men's side are trying to get from it as a run-out chance. Scott's too quick for that. Just, what are these games, what are our men's side hoping to get out of these next 4 games, 2 against Nepal and then 2 against UAE?
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity with the way that the qualification works. We've obviously got the final round of Challenge League in October. Got that right? In October. So at the moment, sitting top of that, if we can hold our position there, it would take us through to I don't know the official name for it, but it's playing, I think it's Cricket World Challenge Playoff or something like that.
Playoff is definitely one of the words.
Yeah, there's a lot of words, but playoff is one of them. And it'll be playing against teams of the ilk of Nepal and UAE, so a bit of experience against teams like that is obviously something that's massive for us. Yeah, a bit of experience against teams like that. Obviously, we've had some in T20 cricket against Scotland and the Netherlands mainly, and obviously we also played the same tournament back in 2023, I think it was. So a bit of experience against teams like that, and just to get back out there and plenty of 50 over cricket under our belt is really what we're looking at. That's what we played.
Not sure if that's going to go. It is going to go.
It's almost a great bit of work.
Speed of the outfield. Is that young Theo Vertier again in the game? The ball magnet continues to come as the partnership builds. As we talked about, farmers needed to calm the scenario that they were in. They were losing wickets at pace. Hard to stem that flow, but these two have done it well. Aman Furi now 13 off 17. Although the strike rate isn't where it needs to be, the target that they're chasing isn't high, so as long as he's there for another few more overs, sticking around with Scott, then Farmers will be happy. But while Scott Van Breede's there, Farmers will be feeling they are right in this game, which they are. It's well played.
It's well played.
Could be 2. Well attacked. 2 hands this time, I noticed, from young Theo Bell. Almost through for what we say is buzzers, which runs after it's gone past the keeper. So the game continues. 6 off this over so far. So 2 games against Nepal this coming week, then 2 more against UAE. Talked to Bear about the standard that we're hoping to get. Let's have a home conditions will certainly play a part, we hope.
Yeah, 100%. Again, always nice to play teams like that and good to play teams like that, but especially in our home conditions, it's something that would probably be a little bit different for those sides coming from a different part of the world, obviously, where pitches might be a little bit slower and a little bit lower, to Grainville here where there's some pace and bounce. So potentially if we can exploit that could be of benefit to our bowlers for sure. Bowled again. I think back to this game there, I think if Tian can stay in and around there, it's going to force our man to do something a little bit different. When he's sort of aired a bit short, it's been easy for him to score, but if he pitches it up, it's going to force him to have to hit hard down the ground, which is potentially a little bit more challenging.
Agreed. His figures maybe don't show the full extent. 1 for 18 off 4 you would certainly take. There's been a couple of balls in there that were gimme balls. If he'd have got them on the stumps, his figures might look very different. But that 1 wicket important, 1 ball to go. Someone else will need to bowl from that far end. I'd be tempted to go back to Will Taylor to try and break this partnership. This is going to be important in the bigger context of the game. 8.65 now, the required run rate, and a well bowled, slower ball to finish the over. So, 66 for 6. Off 13, 62 now needed off 42. I mentioned at the start of this, the required run rate shouldn't be too alarming until it gets up to 9/10s, 8.86. Not far off that, so they're going to watch that. But
just a thought, it's going to be interesting to see what they do from that far end, because hitting with the wind, and they've obviously now bowled out Dan, they've bowled out Tian, and Will Taylor's only got one left, so it's going to leave some potentially difficult overs to bowl towards the end of the innings. Hitting with that wind, potentially might want to either go back to Ross Chadwick from that end, or maybe switch ends for Bealey. At least he's spinning it away.
Oh, intentions were clear there. It's the first time we've seen a bit of aggression from Scott against the spinners.
Just thinking potentially could be quite a hard ask for either Robin or Theo Bell potentially to come into the game from that end.
I think if I remember rightly, when Farmers last played walkovers, Theo Bell got one hit off Scott that went a very long way.
Yeah, somebody reminded me of that earlier. It might even be Theo himself.
It might have, well, which I was going to say, if it's in my mind, it might be in his mind, so that's not going to be an easy place to start. That's a lovely shot. Really good batting, and that's the risk being taken with mid-off up. I don't think he would have stopped it anyway. He's put that over extra cover, which is a lovely shot. Low full toss. Again, partnerships are going to be really important here, and the wicket of Scott Van Breeda is going to be important, but Armand Farid batting lovely here for Farmers.
I would potentially, just watching this, I would potentially actually be in mind to change ends for Bealey here, because with this mid-off up and the way the wind's going, if Armand aims straight, he's got basically a quarter of the field, which he's going to look to hit again. He's hit his own stumps.
Oh, he's hit his own stumps. Just what the game didn't have so far. We've had pretty much everything. We've had slow strike rates, we've had massive hits, we've had everything. We haven't had a hit wicket, and that is an interesting tactic. I'm not sure that was the discussion at the top of his mark. But just when Farmers felt like they got their noses back in front here, a wicket falls. And now this is the key where number of wickets starts to play into it. The run rate's important, obviously, but the run rate with only 3 wickets to go. We'll have a look at the replay here. It gets right back so deep, too deep, that he's then hit his own wicket. So a nice partnership was built, and you've got to say that was a fantastic innings. He soaked up some pressure, which you're going to have to do when you're 6 down and wickets are tumbling, and then has looked to be the more aggressive of the two, knowing that they want Scott to bat deep here. So the way that partnership was built was exactly what you'd want from a Farmer's point of view, but he will be certainly disappointed with that dismissal, having hit the wickets himself. So game firmly in the balance.
Yeah, it's the only time he had got himself in trouble really against Bealey was when he looked back away and play off the back foot. When he looked to play off the front foot and hit somewhere around extra cover mid-off, he looked pretty comfortable. So, yeah, he'll probably be disappointed with that one. It's never a nice way to go.
I can't say I've ever hit my own wickets. I haven't done it myself in my not so illustrious cricket career. Have you?
I don't think I have, no.
Not yourself?
No.
I can't remember. I've coached you for a number of years and then watched you for a number of years. Unfortunately for myself, played with you for a couple of games last year when I couldn't get out of bed the next day, but or maybe 2 years ago now. I've never seen it happen anyway, so it's happened. It's game on. Reece Palmer is now out in the middle, and those who know him know that things don't happen calmly or quietly with Reece involved, so he'll be looking to play second fiddle to Scott here. He's certainly an experienced campaigner. He's played a lot of important innings for Farmers. Even as a youngster, I can remember some CI League final winning knocks. But as I did say, he is carrying a bit of a back injury. He batted at 11 and didn't bowl last week. He's in at 9 and didn't bowl today. So a bit of a Mike Brearley role. Just captaining the side, not doing much outside of that. But this is his chance to get them into the final.
I think what you will say about Reece is more than capable batter. Like you said, plenty of experience. Even though batting a bit lower down the order for Jersey, he's done plenty of batting against some good teams. So again, he's more than capable of sticking around with Scott here and rotating strike, but potentially Scott might have to be a little bit of the aggressor in the partnership.
The key here is a bit like Test match cricket, isn't it? Batting with the tail. Now, as you mentioned, Reece is not your typical Jersey Premier tail batter. But at the same time, he is carrying a bit of a knock or an injury to his back. So him swinging as hard as he can doesn't always help. So eventually, as these wickets run out, Scott's going to have to do something. And as we see for the first time, the required run rate jumping up above 9. So that's going to start to come into play with 7 wickets in hand. It's going to force something. I'm going to ask you for the lottery numbers and the England score in 2 minutes, because every call you've made is coming to fruition. Just as you said from the far end who you might bowl, so be it, it happens. It's experience talking for you there. Scott Chadwick? I've said Scott's name too many times. Ross Chadwick now back on from the other end. Interestingly, to Reese, the skipper is going to continue with this leg side field up. Mid-on has come very, very straight. Interesting field positionings happening here. Yeah, big gaps in the leg side if he wants it.
Yeah, I'd potentially be on the mind of sticking the square leg out. It's a nice cricket shot.
And that is,
beautiful shot.
Despite mid-on being extremely straight, that is a wonderful cricket shot back over his head for 4. And the sign of why we don't think he's a lower order Premier League batter.
Yeah, more than capable batter. More than capable batting. Much higher than 9 here. But I think on a normal day probably could bat somewhere in that 5 region, so 5, 6. So yeah, it's not like having a normal number 9 in here. So potentially, I don't want to jinx it. Potentially, it could be a good pair for a partnership. That's good batting. Clever batting.
Yeah. Get your boundary, get off strike, and that is the way forward for Farmers so far. So still at 9s despite that boundary. Ross Chadwick has plenty of overs, so we'll continue to see him bowl in this game, no doubt. You get the feeling this is the partnership that Farmers need. Ollie Ramage, as good a batter as he is, young head, not necessarily known for his boundary striking in this level of cricket, that's for sure. So himself and James Bradbury to come, you'd say that these two need to get them close.
Yeah, I think this is a very key partnership. Well, like you said, Ollie Ramage is more than capable batter and being part of a partnership. Rotate strike, I'm sure.
That is the risk you take. I'm not sure that's the length that you want to bowl with no one out in the leg side. There's risk taking, and then there's, I think that might just be a sign now. 1 punch down the ground for 4. That would have triggered me to get 1 out straight away. That length is certainly not what he should be bowling, and now he's left him out there. So let's say 4 runs, not the first 4. That was a lovely shot, but that is 4 runs given to the batter. Striking it nicely out the middle of his bat here.
Yeah. I think like you say, with the speed of the outfield, all it takes is, Reece didn't get any of that, did he? Is bottom edge and it's run across the square, and then, as I almost get taken out by a Chad, it's run across the square and yeah, for 4.
The wind just picks up here at Granville. That's a lovely shot again. This is a fantastic knock from Reece Palmer, who in that over has taken Ross Chadwick for 3 4s. 1 through mid-on, 1 short ball through square leg for 4, and then that one beautifully timed through mid-wicket for 4. So just when we thought this game was swinging in one way, it goes back the other.
I think just got to treat this a bit like you treat them both the same. So even though, like we said before, even though Reece is batting at 9, he is a more than capable batter, similar to Scotty. Obviously Scotty's probably got a bit more power, but I would probably be looking to, that over, I probably would have been looking to spread that field a little bit more and stop any boundaries. Boundaries are now what is going to be hurting walkovers, so if they can protect those and then build a couple of dots in the ring, that's probably maybe the way to go about it now, but we shall see.
Billy back on, or if you'd have said, where do you not want to bowl to Scott Van Breeder, I would have said there. Ross Chadwick with a phenomenal bit of fielding. Why can't they go around the back?
Yeah, I think though, to be fair, when he let go of that, if somebody would have told him it would be 1 run, he probably would have taken it.
Yeah, agreed. Not where he wanted to be bowling to Scott, that's for sure. Gets away with it. Ooh. Shout of a catch. Certainly went past him quickly. And Reese is playing a lovely knock here. Every ball he's hitting is coming out the middle of his bat. Sign of a batter in form. Despite batting at number 11 last week. Doesn't seem to have missed a trick this week. That is really well struck. And that beats cover for 4. And this is...
Yeah, that's what being 6'5" and covered in just pure muscle will do for you, Lee.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
I certainly wouldn't know what that feels like, but I'm sure it's nice. So that's the difference. That ball in the first innings we saw would go for 1. Again, too much width. Trying to bowl a bit flatter there, Ben. Obviously the first ball he got against him, a bit more loopy, and he used his feet. So he'd maybe anticipating him using his feet there. He's tried to go back, but Scott's read it well, rocked back and hit it past extra cover for 4. You can just... What you can definitely tell is that everybody knows this game is in the balance, because once that ball was released, the ground was silent. You couldn't hear a thing, which tells you everybody's engrossed in this low score thriller. 1 more wicket and walkovers are right back in this game with just 2 wickets remaining, but these two are batting beautifully and they've got a good chance. Run rate now down just on 8, which...
It's... Yeah, I think he's gone about it the right way now. He's kept the field out. Like, I think he, at this point, Dan needs to just think ones to my deep fielders are more than acceptable. And maybe those ring fielders can even just sit a little bit so they don't get beaten.
I think what we can't forget here is that this isn't a surface with demons in it. This isn't a low-scoring surface. We've seen certainly the Jersey standard batters come in. Dan Birrell striking 27 off 10. Reece Palmer has played a lot of international cricket, 16 off 10. Scott Van Breeda, 32 off 25. They've not found it too hard going. Wickets have generally fell today from good bowling in good areas. When it's not quite there, it is easy to score. Quick outfield and a good wicket. This is not a 128 pitch, so 4 overs to go now. 33 needed off 24. 8.25 is nothing that Scott's going to be worrying about. I don't think he's worried since he's got to the crease, but a few people who have been worrying. I can hear Jimmy Pershard starting up on the far side of the ground, which means Farmers must be getting quite close.
He's now stood still. He was doing laps of the ground before.
He's been nervous. I was just about to say he's been nervously pacing around. He lives and breathes it, both for Jersey and for Farmers. He is certainly one of the most passionate supporters in local cricket, and you will start to hear his voice as the game gets towards its conclusion. So 32 needed off 23 balls. 3 wickets will get walkovers to the final. 32 runs will get Farmers to the final. Playing OVs at 3 o'clock. What it does seem is that the semi-finals aren't going to be boring.
Yep, they certainly have not been over the last few years, have they? This is going to be right down to the wire. Which is what you want.
It's what you want. Oh, that's well played. Well positioned with, that's well fielded as well out there. Will Taylor swooping round with a clean pickup keeps it to 1. Full toss on leg stump could have easily found its way to the boundary, but brilliant bit of fielding keeps it to 1.
First 3 balls, fine. Probably Walkers would be happy with it. If they could squeeze a dot in there, they would absolutely love that.
It's well bowled. Reece again. He's timing it well. He's certainly got a good bat in his hands. He's played some beautiful shots since he's been at the crease. Back looks fine now. We didn't see him feature with the ball, but I think that adrenaline might be getting him through this. And we'll see what he does if Farmers manage to progress for the final this afternoon.
That's massive.
Huge moment.
Leading edge.
Huge moment.
Scotty is fuming with himself, which you don't often see.
No, you don't. Well, you did see a little bit of emotion from him in the first inning. Certainly when he was taking his wickets, there was a big celebration. But You expect that from a guy who knows how to compete at this level, or higher levels, should I say. But he chucks his bat, not in anger, he's just trying to catch it. There's certainly no dissent there, because well, I can't imagine him doing that. But he knows he needed to be there at the end if Farmer was going to get over the line. As you can see here, he's just got maybe a touch tempted by that big space in the leg side, thinking if we can just get ones and get my twos and take down the spin. He's closed the bat face, big leading edge, and Dan Birrell doesn't drop much for Jersey on the boundary. That's certainly not going to be one that he's going to drop. So that is the wicket that walkovers would have wanted. I think certainly, although Scott will feel like he could have got them over the line, that was the knock that they needed to get them back into the game. I think with the way that he played it, ultimately he'll be disappointed with the manner of his dismissal. If he's going down, caught at long on, trying to clear it and take the game over the line for Farmers, but that leading edge he'll be a bit frustrated with that.
Yeah, I think that can be a symptom there of the situation. I think they've got themselves a bit closer than maybe they thought they were going to be in terms of runs. And he's probably gone back into the mindset of knocking the ball around, and maybe a couple overs ago seemed from here looked like quite a full ball on leg stump. He might have looked to put it away.
You just felt he was waiting for that one over, and I think we all were, that there would be one over where he's going to go look to take it down for 20 and finish this game, and it wasn't that over. Trying to work it, wasn't there. That is going to be a wide for height. Interesting call. Young Ollie Ramage comes to the crease. Now, we talked about junior development before, H. You're the under-13s coach, but you're also the under-19s batting coach. Young Ollie Ramage, talk to me.
Yeah, no, a good player, organised player. I think I'm actually looking forward to watching him get a bat in a situation like this. It's good exposure for him, a little bit of pressure. Clear what he needs to do. He doesn't need to be the one to try and send the ball out the ground, but he needs to be the one to rotate strike ones and twos ideally. They need 9 and over. So it's still right in the balance. Reece, we've seen, is capable of hitting boundaries, but he's facing a fellow leg spinner now, so we shall see. Looks like he's been getting quite a bit of turn actually, Ben Bealey.
He will. Well,
it does.
Out of any type of bowler in cricket, a leg spinner is going to get more turn than anyone else, as I'm sure you know. But he is known for his turning of the ball. Ben's a fantastic young cricketer. Played a few times for Jersey, or Jersey A for sure, when he was younger. Talented young cricketer who can still do a job here in Premier League cricket. He's got one more over left. He's gone for 1 for 19. And this will be a big test for young Ollie Ramage. Fielding is tight. The fielders have come back up. They're tight. He's left the 2 out leg side. But, as you mentioned, capable. It's just how are you going to manage the pressure? That's the difference.
Yeah, I think this is where hopefully Reece can aid him. He needs to be down there. If this is another dot ball, I'd like to see him be down there.
Big loopy one. Well played to mid-off, but no run. And that's where the youth and the power is a big difference.
Yeah.
It's not going to get past the fielder hitting it that hard. He's going to have to either hit a gap or play with a bit more intent here, like that. That's a good Oh, it's not going to clear it, and he's caught it. It was big pressure catch.
Yeah, it was. I was just thinking he does like to use his feet, and I wasn't against the option. I just think it was there. He's got a little bit excited. He's got out in front of himself. Instead of letting that ball just get a little bit closer to him, but James E. Bradbury walks out. Absolute pleasure to coach. As a cricketer, great kid, wants to learn. Maybe not known for his batting, but can score in some unusual areas.
Just the replay up here, you can see positive option to come down the wicket, and he does kind of get there, just not able to clear mid-off. Certainly a pressure catch from Will Taylor, who didn't take it, I would say, as calmly as he probably would have liked, but did the job nonetheless. And now you'd say walkovers are ahead. Current run rate is 5. First time that required run rate's gone above 10, but that number 9 is the important part. Reece is going to have to do the majority of this work here.
Yeah, and I'd imagine you're gonna Going to hedge my bets again, Leon. I imagine we're going to finish Bealey, Chadwick, Taylor maybe. Or Bealey, Taylor, then Chadwick. So...
Okay. You've been positive with your calls so far, but I've never seen anyone sit on the fence more than that. I'm going to give you the 2 bowlers who have got overs left, and I'm going to give you the 2 different combinations they could bowl in.
You never know, Theobald could come on and bowl.
We've seen some aggressive captaincy today from Dan Burrell, that's for sure. Some of it worked really well, some of it not so much, but I would say that would be a rogue move. Anyway, it's well played in the leg side. Very much reminding me of the Jack Leach role with Stokes towards the end of Headingley. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not calling Reece Palmer Ben Stokes by any means.
Please don't.
But you do feel that if he's going to win this game, it's going to be all on Reece. James will look to try and get his ones and get him on strike. He's capable enough, but I don't see him hitting 3 or 4 boundaries. Reece is going to need to do it himself.
Oh, and Bealey. Full stretch.
Full stretch. He's not going to leave anything out on that field. This is an interesting one, isn't it? Because you saw it last year, and when I discussed it with you after the game, the semi-final last year had a lot riding on it. Obviously, the ECN qualification on it, amongst other things. It took a lot of emotion out of you, didn't it? That was the game. That was a big game to win.
Yeah.
And then when OVs then got through to the final, a lot of the discussion was around the fact that was a lot to get back up from.
Yeah, especially when Nick Greenwood started in the fashion that he started. That then makes that even harder. Agreed.
Now, he's not here today, but there's plenty of capable batters on show. Yeah. You've just got to be wary here. I don't think that would affect Farmers. They've been here, they've done that. They've won enough trophies over the last 5 years to know how to cope with emotions. You just think if walkovers can get through here, is this the biggest game, or will they be ready to compete in the final? We'll find out. 3 o'clock this afternoon. What time are we on now? We are 20 past 2, so actually not that much time between the games. And we will see who comes out. This game has gone right down to the wire. Bit of discussion there about who's going to bowl this over, because it looked for all money like Will Taylor was going to bowl it. The keeper had got the helmet and was going to get ready. Will Taylor had the ball in his hand, but the discussion was, no, I'll take it.
Yeah, I think good shout. I like
you called it, right?
Called it, yeah. Told you.
You called it either way, but you definitely did call it. So
100%.
Would you have gone it this way?
I probably would have gone it this way, yeah. Just with hitting downwind, I know Will Taylor would be spinning the ball away from that sort of wind and hitting to that leg side, but just a little bit more pace on the ball. Potentially, if you can hit the stumps, maybe make somebody go across it.
So the usual field, no fielders behind the wickets either way. Oh, they're going to take the run. I'm not sure I would have done that.
Right. I'd like to see Ross Chadwick come around the wicket here so that he
can
access the stumps. I think he might.
This is another call. You're not sitting on the fence this time.
No.
That's good.
I hope he does.
Good.
Because it'll just give him a few more chances of a dismissal, for his sakes. Just thinking about it. Maybe not.
He's going to have a discussion with his skipper. No, he's not, because the skipper's too busy setting the field, so they feel comfortable with where they're at. 24 needed off 11. That required run rate is climbing with every ball that it doesn't go for 2 or more. It's now up to 13. It's going to continue to creep. James needs to get himself off strike here, get Reece Palmer on strike as early as possible. And that is exactly what he's done.
He's done well there. Done his job.
And that's what you've been teaching in the last couple of years, back away to leg.
Yeah, back away
hit
to
through
leg,
the
get
offside.
back on it. Yeah, that's the one. We'll tell you what he's looking for. He's looking over extra cover, Lee.
Well, that is nothing if not brave. And we like that. We like brave. Talking of brave, Reece Palmer's going to have to be brave here. 23 runs off 10 balls. It's a tough ask. He's been batting nicely, but not going to be easy. He's gone for that ramp. And taken.
Given.
And that is the game. The walkovers have created a huge upset here. I think everybody felt going into the game that this would have been Farmer's game to win. A brilliant game of cricket to watch for the neutral. Not necessarily the run fest I predicted, I think, at the toss, but low scoring games can be good for both. So it's walkovers who advance to the final. a brilliant fielding and bowling display. One thing I will give myself credit for is I did say if they're going to win, they have to bowl them out, and they did. 10 wickets isn't easy to do in T20 cricket, but they've managed it. Dan Burrell there on your screen, leading the way with the new ball. 4 wickets at the top, turning the game in his team's favour. We mentioned before about mentality and how they'll face the final. With him in charge, he's certainly not going to let them slack off.
No, I think, obviously, having not been around this finals day for a while, I think we will see plenty of energy from Walker this afternoon. They certainly have got that in them.
I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because you'd think, you know, momentum, we talk about it sometimes in cricket, that, you know, time in the middle and overs under your belt helps you. But actually what we've seen a number of times over the last few years is having got to the final, that gives you that advantage of not having played already. But there is that sense that, you know, like a game like today gives them that momentum. They're certainly up and about, the walkovers lads. They weren't looking that way at the halfway stage, but they've managed to find a way. Certainly cause an upset here. And what I can say for sure is that there'll be a new name on the trophy at around 5:30, maybe 6 o'clock today, depending on how far that final goes. But it's been a bowler's game. Certainly both sides have covered themselves in glory with the ball, not so much with the bat. We've seen fits and starts, but ultimately it is walkovers who progress to the final. We will have the game for you live at 3 o'clock. H, thank you for your time. Much appreciated for jumping on comms. I hope you guys who haven't made it to the ground have enjoyed that live stream. I can't encourage you enough to get down this afternoon to watch the game. The weather's set fair. 3 o'clock is the start. That is just 38 minutes from now. So either get to the ground, the boundary's open for refreshments and food. If you're not able to, we will have the live stream for you at 3 o'clock. So join us either way, and we'll see you at 3 o'clock.